Sally sells she shells by the seashore. I love New York. I know New York. I know I need unique New York. I know love New York. I know New York. I know I need unique New York.
Shut up, Alicia Keys.
New York. All right. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Movie Date with Rob and Zach, a podcast for people who love movies but don't want to be smug about it. Zach. Thank you all for listening. We have some more guests again. We're outsourcing our talent to a broader appeal of people. With us again is Mr. Da Vinci Chops Moore.
Hey, how you doing?
What's it do?
What's
and we also have a Mr. Jared Lowry with us.
How's it going, guys?
Yes. So we were supposed to do John Wick this week, but Zach decided no.
We are gonna do Sorry to Bother You.
Sorry to bother you.
And bring
Which is
to
a
you
very-
good folks a mega cast of crazy proportions. I
I'm gonna-
these guests today.
I'm going to do this just for blowing off John Wick. Whenever we do like Aquaman or Shazam, I'm going to have like 9 people in here.
That's
Yes.
Just so that
fun.
you can feel it.
Today's mega cast.
No, we love both you guys. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
I handpicked these two comedians specifically for this movie because of the themes and what this movie deals with. So I got The Experience, Jared Lowry. You're one of the craziest, weirdest comics I know, and Da Vinci. He's like the black guru, so to speak. So he could probably help us parse through some of those.
Not a self-proclaimed title. Just letting people know,
Unofficial.
so I don't look like an asshole.
I thought it was comedy guru.
The comedy guru, whatever
Yeah.
you call me. I just sit here and take it.
You're damn right.
So yeah, sorry to bother you
Yes.
with this podcast.
Yes. We decided going into this that we're not going to spend a lot of time on being spoiler free because this movie is very, very difficult to talk about without being spoiler free. So I didn't want to waste a lot of time on that. So we're just going to sum it up real quick for you guys and then get into the spoiler section. Zach, I'm starting with you because it's going to be the longest.
Oh, wait. In an alternate reality of present-day Oakland, telemarketer
Is this a
Cassius
spec
Green
script that you're
finds
pitching us?
himself in a macabre
network
universe
script that he's
after
pitching.
he discovers a magical key that leads to material glory. As Green's career begins to take off, his friends and coworkers organize a protest against the corporate oppression. Cassius soon falls under the spell of Steve Lift, a cocaine-snorting CEO who offers him a salary beyond his wildest dreams.
Played by Armie Hammer, who's pretty good here.
Yep.
Very good.
Okay, so
Start with your expectations.
my expectations, I thought this was going to be like a riot of a movie, super crazy, off the wall. It looked kind of like surrealist, like mind-bendy, even in the trailer. So yeah, that's what I was.
All of
gunning
those are
for.
words I would agree with.
I was super stoked from the start. That's what I expected. It was
Bomb.
just a pure awesome movie.
Bomb, diggity, Da Vinci.
Well, my expectations for the movie, I didn't really have any high expectations for the movie, nor did I have any low expectations for the movie.
You're speaking my language, brother.
I just thought, okay, this should be an interesting movie to go see because it has some actors in it that that I respect, that I think that are pretty good actors,
Yeah.
and and I just thought it would be interesting to say the most.
Sure. Fair enough. Yeah. I went into this movie with a pretty broad open mind. I saw it was like I remember I saw it, and I don't know if it was Rolling Stone or something. They said like this is the comedy of the year. So I was like,
Yeah.
I went into this just like ready to enjoy a good movie. I hadn't seen like a good comedy in a long time. Like the last one that I saw that I,
The Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I don't really count that one, but like, yeah, the last one I saw that was like really funny was that one. But the last like pure comedy that I remember seeing was like as a movie. It's been a while.
They don't make them anymore.
Yeah,
They don't make comedies like that no more.
No.
There's a lot of
I just watch when I want to watch comedy. I just watch like Rick and Morty or something.
Gone are like
I
the
just watch Tommy Boy over and over.
like I think the last big good comedy wave of movies came when like Step Brothers and Talladega Nights.
Yeah,
and,
Will
like,
Ferrell.
Like
The Adam McKay
that
stuff.
07 to 09 period right there.
Yeah. What were your expectations, Jared?
Well, I actually had no idea what this movie was going to be about.
That is true.
The only thing I knew was that this guy was trying to sell things through using a white guy's voice. And he was black. That's all I knew about the movie.
And the concept of the white voice, you know, is
Not a particularly new idea.
it's not a new
Dave
concept.
Chappelle does it
Yeah.
back in the 90s.
Yeah,
Or
but
whatever.
like basically, it shows a scenario in real life how black people have to deal with, you know, certain jobs using our white voice. You know, the the stereotypical or just the job interview. vernacular, so
I
to
definitely
speak.
expected to feel uncomfortable when I went to see this movie,
Why?
Well,
just because of the premise in general.
Well,
yeah,
Am
the
I
premise in
allowed to ask
general
what-
kind of, you know, has some racial undertones on it.
Yeah.
So it was like
I didn't expect to feel uncomfortable until people started calling it the next Get Out. And then I was like, oh, is there going to be some big thing? And I take umbrage with calling this the next Get Out.
it
which we'll get
is.
to.
It did feel like a Get Out Part 2. Like it was like it was.
It is a spiritual successor to Get
it
Out.
has some
Yeah.
similarities.
It has
Sure.
a lot of similarities.
But I didn't like. But again, like if you showed someone a trailer for this movie with none of the stuff around it,
Yeah.
would they think that? Of course not.
Yeah,
I don't think, or at least I don't think they would.
yeah.
Yeah. So let's quit beating around the fucking bush. What did you think, Zach? We'll start with you.
I'm gonna be honest, man.
Be honest. That's all I ever want is honest
It
conversation.
was everything I thought it would be. It was surreal. It was mind bendy. It definitely got weird as fuck. And I found a good 80% of it to be quite funny and hilarious. Despite the fact that neither you nor Da Vinci
yeah.
found it all that hilarious.
I mean, see, this is the thing though, man.
Like there are moments where it's like trying to make you just uncomfortable, right?
yeah.
I don't
And I'm
think
like,
so.
that's
Well, I kind of felt a lot of.
I
uncomfortable
agree with that.
moments
I
there.
agree.
I was only uncomfortable at the end.
That's what I'm
I,
saying.
I
Like
didn't know anything about that.
towards the end was when I started to go like, holy shit, this is kind of getting uncomfortable because it's like I was like, where's the comedy that I was expecting? Because like the way they sold it, the way they sold the
comedy
movie,
of the year.
they sold it as
Yeah.
oh, this is the comedy of the year. Like okay, so
And
I'm
I think
gonna
I
laugh
laughed.
my ass off.
I think I laughed
It's
6 times.
like
Really?
Eternal
And they're not-
Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, right? That was supposed to be like a comedy, right?
That's
that
not
was
a comedy at all.
but it
man.
was like
Sad.
wasn't it like but wasn't it like advertised as one kind of?
Yeah,
it was
but-
advertised.
See,
as
there you
comedy.
go.
I kinda-
So this movie is less Pineapple Express and more Eternal Sunshine. You know what I mean? Like
I don't even have a problem with that in theory. My problem is that it's just not funny. I just didn't laugh that much.
I thought it
Guys.
was hilarious.
What he's saying
guys.
it was probably false advertising on their part. So it was like it's like the movie.
I agree.
didn't-
There are definitely times where they do want to make it deliberately uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely not gonna lie. I was very uncomfortable. So, like the movie does its job in that regard. And but there are also big parts of the movie where you can just tell, just like when you're watching a stand-up comedian,
Yeah.
where they set up a joke. There's a big lull, and then there's this big dead zone where you were supposed to laugh, and all you hear is the uncomfortable of everyone behind you.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was definitely a lot of
There's a lot of that in the movie.
it's definitely a lot of uncomfortable moments like, oh, you're supposed to laugh there. And then I was like
And then you don't, and you're like, no, thank you.
Nah, I'm sorry. This was but like I get where they were trying to go with it.
do you think you would
Like,
find it funnier on a rewatch where you're able to absorb more of
if
it?
I were to watch it again, I would probably make more intention to look for okay, these are where the jokes are coming from. These are where the jokes are coming.
Yeah.
But like my first initial reaction when I first watched it, I was just like I didn't find anything
Yeah.
that just made me butt gustingly laugh.
Yeah.
Out
No,
loud.
it's not a gut buster.
It's not a
it's
gut
not.
buster.
It's a sit there and quietly snicker or whatever. Or be like,
It's more
like,
cerebral.
you know.
It's more cerebral humor than it is.
But is that what someone wants when they walk into the comedy of the year? Is like a couple
No.
times you go,
if
that?
I'm going to see a comedy of the year, I want to fucking be in tears laughing at a movie. That's just my expectation.
I'll take it a little further to say that like I walked out of the movie last night when I was like, man, I just don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I slept on it.
It was a lot of mixed feelings.
Yeah, I slept on it last night and I came out a little more positive on it because just because I didn't find it funny, I don't think that it's a bad movie.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad movie at all. Like I don't. You good, Jared?
Yeah.
You good, man?
Oh, he gotta go use the bathroom.
Oh,
Right, you business, man.
We'll press pause.
no, we will not. We will keep going.
Yeah.
We'll keep going.
Just push play.
No pausing. No editing.
Pausing.
Raw.
Raw, uncut.
Unproduced. 'Cause those are the records that always sounded good.
Oh my gosh.
No,
Okay,
but
so let's
but
start.
like-
Let's start from like the beginning. The movie opens up. How does it open up again? Is he's
well, before we do spoilers, I want to finish talking about our overall thoughts on if we have to throw like a dart at a dartboard, is this landing more on the good side or the bad side?
I'd say it's more landing on the good side.
Mm-hmm.
Just considering it's a pretty like I've never really seen a movie like that. Like
Sure.
it was just like it had its moments of originality.
He's a first-time director, by the way.
Yeah.
Boots
First-time director.
Boots
Riley.
Riley, yeah, directed this film.
Yeah, like it was definitely, something I appreciated, more so than I didn't care for the comedy aspect. If it was sold to me different instead of as a comedy, I would have I would have went in there with different expectations.
All right.
Like, okay.
Let me play devil's advocate. If it was sold to you as a cerebral drama, would you have even gone to see it in the first place?
I probably still would have. Because
Really?
I like
'Cause I don't know if
Like
I
Keith
would.
Stanfield, man. Like that's
I like
why
the actors that are in the movie.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay,
I don't know that I would have, and I think maybe that's a reason that he bills it as a
well,
comedy.
he sold it as a comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I don't necessily think that it's
it's a comedy, Rob.
or
I don't
funny.
I don't know what you guys are talking
Because it isn't
Dude,
funny.
man,
Because it's not funny.
about. I'll argue this till
That's
till my
fine.
dying day.
I hope
It's
you- I want
it's
you to.
think it's a
funny
comedy.
enough. It's funny enough to be a
No,
comedy.
it's not funny enough. There's
You think it's funny,
a
I don't-
comedy movie can never be funny
Jared,
enough.
what say you? Do you think it's a comedy?
He just got back from the bathroom, and now
See?
he's back on the
Okay, Me and
pod.
Jared are on. Are on one
This is
page.
my thing about
I have to
comedy
give my
movies, though.
rebuttal.
But this is
Yeah, you got to get the mic closer to yourself
This-
because you're like 6 inches away.
This is what I'm saying about comedy. Like a comedy movie can never be funny enough. You could always make a comedy movie funnier, but
But this doesn't even
it doesn't
attain
even
for, it
scrap
doesn't
the
even
bare
attain for
minimum.
that. Like it doesn't.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't even shoot for the
I,
bare
I,
minimum.
I honestly laughed maybe 2 or 3 times, and the rest of them were little snickers. And I was like,
I've had I think I laughed maybe about 3 times,
and they weren't satisfying laughs. like-
it really wasn't as satisfying.
Like
as
think
laugh.
about the last.
just from compared to other movies that I've seen
Exactly.
that may be gut bustingly laugh,
Like
even if it is sort of the cerebral humor, such as like Monty Python sketches.
Yeah.
But is
All right, get on with it,
Like
you
if
guys.
you saw a comedian and they'd had like a 2 hour 10-minute set,
if a
and you
comedian
laughed
makes you
6
laugh 4 times out of an hour, he bombed.
Yeah.
Like that's
All right,
Is-
Jared, why do you think this movie didn't bomb?
Okay, those are most of the.
I don't think that the
specials I've
movie.
seen.
Let me be clear. I don't
God
think.
damn it, Rob.
I'm sorry. I don't think the movie bombed. I actually think it's a pretty solid movie
It's a solid
altogether.
movie.
I just don't think it's funny.
Okay,
Jared.
I was gonna make a joke.
Oh
No, I
Jesus.
can't. Because now it's irrelevant. I thought it was a very funny movie. I don't know.
Argue your point. Look me in the face as you do it.
why do you think the movie was so
I don't
funny?
like
Yeah.
to argue.
So like
That's the whole premise of this.
Why-
How
why
many
do you
times
think the
have you
movie-
laughed from watching?
I
the
didn't
movie?
count them.
Was it more than you could count?
I didn't count them at all. I don't go into.
I didn't
a
count them
movie-
either, but I walked out knowing like couldn't have been more than 6.
That's what I'm saying. If I can count the number of laughs I've laughed at a movie,
I laughed more than 6 times.
I didn't hear you though. Like you said that, but like
Well,
I
no,
saw
because
you
like I said,
smile.
it's not a
like-
gut. You're right. It's not a gut buster, but it's definitely funny enough to be a comedy.
Is it funny or is it just like quirky and weird? I think it's more quirky and weird than funny.
a lot of people try to pass off quirky and weird for funny though.
Yeah.
But like,
Like here's an example. Like Portlandia is quirky and weird and is funny.
yeah.
But this movie is quirky and weird, and then underneath all that, I'm going like something really bad is happening
I think-
here.
I just don't
can't
think
see
it's
it
your cup
yet.
of tea, man. I think that's what it is, really.
But like, I think what it is, they didn't make enough effort to relieve a lot of the tension that they were creating in the movie.
Sure.
Because they a lot of the moments.
Devinci, stop talking and let Jared finish.
All right, yeah.
I'm sorry, we keep dominating.
What
We're
do you
steamrolling the
find
conversation.
funny?
Huh?
What do you find funny?
I find a lot of stuff funny.
Okay.
I just, you know,
No, he doesn't.
I feel like
Like
liar.
me personally, I find it funny in a fucked up sort of way, like in more of the nihilistic type humor. It's funny in that perspective.
Nihilistic.
Like here's an example of a movie that's maybe not on par with this movie, but I think they share like a kindred spirit that I think is genuinely funny. Like Tusk. Tusk is a pretty funny
I
movie.
didn't see that movie.
Yeah, it's a funny movie, and it will leave you scarred for a little bit after watching it.
Yeah, it will.
I like to compare it to like Get Out, man. Like Get Out had its funny moments.
Yeah, I would say Get Out
I
is.
didn't laugh at Get Out.
Yeah, I would.
I laughed at a couple of shit. Get
Yeah,
Out.
I would say it's about as funny, but Get Out doesn't bill itself as a comedy, which is
Yeah.
why the humor is like when it hits you, you're like, oh, that's really funny because you just weren't expecting
Yeah,
it.
you weren't expecting it to happen.
Yeah, those
essentially.
trailers for Get Out filled me with like legit dread going into it.
Like I already knew it was gonna be a fucked up movie.
And the dude from Get Out is in this. The Uncle Tom guy. What's his name? I can't
Yeah.
remember his name in the movie, but
I forgot his name
first-
was-
the first guy-
Okay,
they-
well, what's the movie really about, though? Like, what's its essence?
well, I want you
The
to
The
argue.
movie's
I want
about.
before we get started into spoilers, I want you to argue more vociferously for why it's funny. And I won't interrupt you. I probably will. But keep going.
So arbitrary.
It's funny.
one
In
of you
the, it's
two.
funny in the way, not like turned up to 11, like what I'm about to compare it to. But it's funny the way shit like Meet the Fockers is funny.
Okay.
It creates such a tension, and sometimes it just lets it fucking hang, and it never gets wiped away. And that can be funny. It's the reason why Steve Carell's character in The Office is funny.
because he doubles down on it.
So yeah, sometimes he
But they
doesn't.
had-
He doesn't just say something that's outright funny, but he'll let it hang there long enough, or it'll be so absurd that you won't even be able to process it right away.
I
Are
don't-
you saying it's more anti-comedy?
Very much so.
But
Yeah,
I wouldn't. I
get,
don't.
I get what he's saying.
I could too. I just don't know if there's anything absurd from any of the characters. There's a bunch of weird situations, but like when in The Office, when Michael Scott's like, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take," comma Wayne Gretzky, comma me, like quoting himself, like that's a weird, absurd thing to do. But no characters in this I felt did anything absurd.
Are you telling me that there were no absurd
There was
characters
some
in this
absurd
movie?
fucking characters. In
Are
this.
you
I
kidding
think
me,
they're
Rob?
supposed
There are
to be
absurd-
more
there are ab-
ordinary, regular people.
There are
though.
absurd characters,
about
but
it.
do they ever do anything absurd? Like, aside from putting David Cross's voice, which I don't feel like this is a spoiler because it's in the trailers, they put David Cross's voice over Lakeith, what's his name?
Stanfield.
They put his voice over his voice so that they can use that as his quote-unquote white guy voice. If he just did a Dave Chappelle white guy voice, I don't know if I would have found it any more or less absurd. Like, I didn't find that absurd. I was like, oh, that's different. Is what I
The
found
fact
myself.
that
I
they
thought the
doubled
white guy
down on
was
the
funny.
overdubbing, I found
I thought it
funny.
was funny.
I thought the fact that David Cross fucking did the white guy voice was funny.
So did I.
Yeah.
Patton Oswalt doing the other
But I didn't find it like
big
absurd.
power
is
caller's
what I'm
voice
saying.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Patton Oswalt being in this was just like made it weirdly.
But you're right,
creepier.
Rob. They could have just, came up with their own like quote white guy voice or whatever, and did it that way. But the fact that they doubled down on the overdubbing like that, and sometimes it's done poorly, like that in itself to me is funny. Like it's just things that keep recurring in the movie
But
over
now
and
that I
over
see
like
it
that.
more so, and, like I get what you're saying now.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from.
I get where you're coming from now because like if you're seeing it with the eyes of like, okay, it's more anti-comedy. Anti-comedy kind of does the exact opposite of comedy.
I just realized I left my phone downstairs with all my
Right.
notes, and I don't want to go get it.
Like it's kind of like how Jared's comedy. Like when he gets up on stage, it's very anti-comedy. He gets up on stage and he lets the tension hang for so long until it breaks.
Yeah, but there is a break.
It breaks
I don't
on
know.
his.
I don't
it
know if
breaks
there's
on
a,
its own.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a break in the movie, but I've
Yeah.
seen comedians who keep digging this big hole, and you're waiting for this laugh, and then when it finally crashes down, it's a big sort of catharsis.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that ever happens here.
Yeah, I think they just
So it's-
kept creating.
So
more
it's
and
very
more tension.
difficult for me to like accept the humor. But I think we've talked enough about that. I think it's time for us to before we get into spoilers, one last thing. Would you recommend it to another person?
Definitely.
Like a random person on the street, not even someone who shares your likes.
I
Zach,
mean-
I'm starting with you.
Yeah, I would recommend it to another person. Absolutely, I would recommend it to my friends, my family, my dentist, my dog.
Your dog.
I don't own a dog, but I would recommend it to my dog.
He would buy a dog just to make him sit through this.
I would recommend it to another person. I definitely would. Like it's not a bad movie. Like
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad movie. It's just that when people
But
go
would you
in
give them an asterisk before being like, don't go into this movie if you're wanting like to laugh. Go into this movie to have your expectations severely subverted and a little disturbed, and you might chuckle. Like that's what I would say, because I would recommend it to someone if they were like, I was like, do you like comedies? And I was like, oh yeah, I love comedies.
Okay.
I don't know if you're going to enjoy this that
I wouldn't
much.
recommend
Are you a
it.
fan of
I
the-
wouldn't recommend it as a comedy.
I would
Yeah.
recommend it
Go
to
say,
people
hey,
who
man,
like
tell them it
Zach
was a
Galifianakis or
comedy.
something. Like, go see this movie if you're
Like
just,
Due Date.
No,
I know exactly. I was testing you
not
there.
like that movie.
I like
movie's-
that movie.
All right, Jared, would you recommend this to someone, and would you go see it again?
I'd probably do both because there's probably some things I missed.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I do want to see it again. Actually, I want to see it again with
I know. Considering how fucked up the movie was,
Yeah.
I do want to see it again. Just
There's a lot of stuff underneath the
That I didn't
like
really
under the
just
woodwork
catch.
of this movie
It's like
too.
when I was watching, I have to see this with somebody else too. You know, it's like, oh, but
Look at them. Look at what their reaction is to.
yeah, it's just,
Yeah, because like it's one of those things where I didn't really catch everything through the first viewing of it. Like it's like there was so much that was going on.
So many Easter eggs.
Yeah, it was a lot of Easter eggs in there that I could have missed, but
what?
that was an alarm.
That was Zach giving us the signal to move to spoilers. No, it wasn't, but that's how I'm going to spin it.
That was perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect time.
So spoilers. I'll start it off with I'll start it off with like my biggest bads, which are all the jokes that I remember that didn't land at all. So, when
Or you think they didn't land?
when Lakeith Testy over there, I expect a rigorous rebuttal. So when Lakeith Johnson is going to become a power caller,
Yeah.
and he gets into the elevator, and the lady pulls out the thing to type in the code.
Yeah.
There's a big, like, it goes on
It's a-
for a long time,
it's a
and it
long
goes
ass
on
fucking
forever. And there's at least 3 points where the director is like, "Oh, they're gonna laugh here, right here, they're gonna laugh, and right here, they're gonna laugh." And I didn't laugh at all, and I literally felt people around me going like,
Yeah, why? It was definitely a lot of try hard jokes. I think.
Yeah.
And
And
What
I-
you say is try hard. I say is they're leaning into it, man, just to put you in that space that the movie is, which is like this alternate reality, this absurd,
Maybe,
crazy world.
but that's not funny. Is my point.
the doubling down on it only works to a certain.
Fine. If
extent.
it doesn't get the laugh, then it still serves as just more world building.
I thought it was,
You don't even believe that.
Yes, I do.
Oh my god.
I feel like if
You cannot find a fault with this movie, Rob. It's impeccable.
certainly
It's a
I
great
can.
movie. We're not arguing that the movie
Believe me, I have
good.
I have good things to say about it, which I'll double down on. They're probably going to be bad things for you, and you're not going to agree with me. But when I say them, you're going to be like, I can't believe Rob's arguing that that's a good thing.
You want to know the only thing I thought was bad about this movie? The character's
That it
name.
ended.
The character's name. His name's Cassius Green.
I love his
Cassius
name,
Green.
dude.
Cassius Green. Like it's
It's
a pun, but it also fits nice with the whole overarching plot of the movie
Sure.
and all the themes and elements and everything in this movie is just a giant fucking metaphor.
I didn't know it was his name for a while.
I get you. Like I
You
get.
just kept saying
I-
that in the movie.
I get
People would say it in
what
the
Zach
movie.
is saying.
So you thought it was
about
just like a
the humor of it.
subliminal
It's-
message? Like they
it's-
kept saying Cassius
The
Green.
humor is very meta. Is very meta humor, cerebral.
Do you feel like this is an excuse someone would use for why no one laughs at their jokes?
Yes.
That it's just too much for you, man. You just don't get it. It's over
the
your head or
the
Y'all
under
are
your
really
feet.
sick. These jokes.
I get every single joke that they tried to
Now I
throw.
know how like
That being said,
like diehard Dan
fucking
Harmon
laugh.
fans feel.
I get the jokes.
But
that
here's the
they're trying
thing:
to
like
do.
Dan Harmon's jokes are funny. Like
Dan
they're
Harmon
jokes.
has
There's
jokes.
yes, absolutely. Rick and Morty is a hilarious
Just
show.
because
Does he
you
write any of the show?
Yeah, he
just
writes
because
and
you
produces.
get the joke doesn't always mean that the joke is
I
funny.
barely
Yeah.
even laugh at Rick and Morty. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Oh shit! You gonna
Get the
piss off
fuck
the
out
Rick
of
and
my
Morty
podcast.
friends, man? Don't do
I only
that.
left once.
No, look, we're not here to debate Rick and
We're not
Morty.
here to debate Rick. That's a completely different
Okay.
subject.
We're here to debate whether or not Cassius Green is a good name for a protagonist.
It's
Especially a
not
black
really,
protagonist.
Because I was confused. Most of the
I'm sure
movie.
it's a play on Muhammad Ali because his
I
name's
guess.
Cassius Clay, and he was supposed to represent anti-establishment power in the 1960s. I'm sure it's a
Yeah.
play on that.
There's a lot of radicalists in this, or radical,
Oh, yeah,
you know,
everybody's
movement
fucking
type
radical.
stuff in this movie.
There are only radical movements in
Everybody's
this
a
movie.
fucking radical, pretty much. Like,
It's pretty radical, bro.
The movie is a socialist sort of wet dream in a way.
it's very extremist.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it goes to it plays.
It's
those
extreme and
lines.
it's just basic
It's extreme
provocativeness.
to the point of absurdity, to which I guess would make it the comedy. So
Yeah.
it's like, but yeah, there was a lot of fucked up shit.
Here's the best
thing is, I can't even hardly describe.
I
like,
can't even describe
half the shit
a mat
in this movie
Oh my God.
that blew my mind
this shit.
because it is just so wacky and surreal and mind bendy. Like,
sure.
Like the only movie I could compare to in level of fucked upness that I've seen recently was Get Out.
Yeah.
It was like it had that type of like once towards the end, it started to get very, very
Yeah.
like
Pulls the rug out from under you like 3 times.
exact like holy shit. This
Yeah.
is what the fuck is going on. in
and
this
I
movie.
think it ties the whole movie together.
Get out
Yeah.
of this.
No, the way it pulls the rug out from under you like 3
Yeah,
or 4
but
times.
get out
I
or
don't
this.
really-
What are you talking about?
I feel more of an idiocracy vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not feeling that at all, but keep going.
I am.
I feel more of a Get Out vibe than an Idiocracy
Yeah.
vibe. It was like this is because like it just got really.
Well, the thing is-
Idiocracy is a movie
You-
about
Rob, you called this movie if Paul Thomas Anderson encapsulated the black experience.
Yes.
And
When I walked out.
What?
as offensive as that statement is, and as hilarious as it is, I disagree with you on that because I mean it is at a
Can I
certain
just say that it's fine? You disagree
at a
with me
certain
because
level
I
it
don't
does
even believe
seem to
it?
be about that
Well, the
like,
pacing for one thing.
but it blows it. You soon find that the movie blows itself way out, and the scope of it
Sure.
widens a whole lot.
Yeah.
And it becomes no longer about just the black experience,
Okay.
but like about
Which is the opposite of what every Paul Thomas Anderson movie ever does ever.
it becomes
It stays about one thing forever.
yeah, it becomes about labor. It becomes about work. It becomes about where we want
Yes.
ourselves to go as people, as humans.
I agree. Or where we're already going.
It could
That's what
either
I'm
be
saying.
seen as a really uplifting movie or a really fucking depressing movie.
No, I would say it. I would
it's
say
super open to interpretation.
Yeah,
I would
it's
say
really
it's-
open to interpretation.
I would say you'd be hard pressed to describe it as uplifting, because what he's talking.
I think you can.
What he's talking. I want to hear it then. What he's talking about is how the history of this country was written by far left radicals, and that's true. There's a movie called In Dubious Battle. It's on Netflix if you guys haven't seen it, and I would say it's about the same thing that this movie's about, except In Dubious Battle actually happened, and this one is an extended metaphor. The entire movie is allegorical.
Yeah.
And it's about how in the 1910s, apple pickers went fucking of Northern California to work shitty jobs for $1 a week or something. And when they asked for $2 a week, they were smeared as radical communists, and they would bring in crooked cops and mafias, and they would literally kill people. And it's a real stark movie about how we got any sense of economic dignity in this country. And it's, I would say it's the same thing as this movie. That's what this movie is saying a lot of the time, is that, getting things like a minimum wage, getting things, and I can't talk about this without getting political, so if you don't want to hear it, you can turn the thing off right now.
He's getting political.
It's impossible to.
Let's get
If you want to be honest, if you want to be, if you want to,
Let's get political.
if you want to be honest about the filmmaker's intention, you can't talk about this movie without talking about what he believes politically,
Right.
because it's impossible to do.
I mean, I listened to the podcast that Boots Riley did with Mark Maron
Yeah.
several weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he talks a lot about how like his parents were actually like radicals and community
What?
leaders
Impossible.
and stuff.
I don't believe it. Keep going.
And so you can tell that this dude's whole life seems to be about that maybe not so much like anti-establishment, but definitely like just the whole idea that people deserve what we deserve, like our basic humanities and all that
Sure.
stuff.
Yeah, and I think that he would. I think those are the parts of the movie that I enjoy the most, and that he's pretty unflinching about it. Whereas some people would couch it in some level of compromise.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He kind of just lets it sort of stand there and says, like, if you don't think these are good things, we can talk about that. And he goes, but that's not what this is about. The fact that we have a 40-hour, work week, and the idea of overtime and a weekend and a minimum wage and anti-child labor laws all exist because radicals were smeared as communists and went before McCarthy and all these things that were detrimental to our society, in my opinion.
And
Detrimental to our
so
society.
what I think he's trying to say with this movie, at least a little bit, is that it's kind of like a call to arms, really.
Maybe.
I feel.
In a
I
way.
think maybe it's not a call to arms, but I think what he's saying is it takes big radical things to get people's attention now.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why he's we're in spoilers now, right? Yeah, we're in spoilers. Which is why when Cassius gets like the shit beat out of him on that show and covered in like feces, which is another thing I think we're supposed to laugh at, but I didn't laugh at all.
Yeah.
Which is why I think when that happens, what he's saying is you can't just tell people something anymore.
You have to make it a spectacle.
Yeah, which is I think he's lamenting that pretty clearly. I think he intends that to be funny only in the sense that he is cynical about everyone who's watching the movie's expectation.
Yeah, it comes from a cynical
Yeah,
viewpoint.
which is why I didn't think it was very funny.
It's just.
But I think it's very thought provoking. And I think it's probably true.
It's very thought provoking. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm just thinking at it from just a black perspective.
Yeah.
That, the whole point of just a black person's making their way up to,
Yeah. The upper echelon of
the
society.
upper echelon of society. What would they have to sacrifice?
Yeah. Principles are convenient when you're poor and eating ramen noodles next to the guy next to you. But when you get a fucking Bentley in a penthouse apartment, those principles become inhibitions. They no longer, Yeah.
Exactly. So like
When he says, I'm rooting for y'all from the bench now.
yeah.
What the director is saying is, one, that's either impossible or you have to realize that your principles never meant anything in the first place.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's untrue. We're talking a lot, and Jared has said nothing. So let's let Jared in on the conversation
I agree
about what
with
you
y'all.
think about it. Yeah.
I know
Jared,
y'all
what are-
want me to disagree? with
What
y'all.
are some things that
Please recite the first lines of the Communist Manifesto, please.
I don't know it.
what are some things that you liked about the movie?
I like most of the things in the movie. And I like the actors in the movie.
Sure.
Who do you think had the best performance?
I'm gonna-
The main character, I guess. I mean,
Sure.
Stephen Yeun was pretty good.
Oh yeah. Glenn
Really? Because I thought he was
Walking
like the one character who was unnecessary.
I really
It was
think
kinda
like
just a
I
relief
thought-
to see
I
him,
don't-
though.
Yeah. I do think he's good. I just feel like you could just make his character, what's his name? Cassius, his friend. I feel like he could have been that.
he
too.
really didn't like.
Yeah.
I really felt
Yeah.
like his part was kind of unnecessary in a
Yeah.
way, because it's like everybody else kind of carried.
He gets
the movie.
Cassius's girlfriend to make out with him, and nothing. There's no weird conflict
There's
that
no
happens.
He doesn't
conflict
fight
after
him.
that.
Yeah, it just happens. I was like, all
That's
right.
what I'm saying. Oh,
And then like at the end they get back together and
he's
he's
like,
just like,
all right.
whatever.
all right,
I'll walk away.
all right, they're back together. Bro.
And
Let me get the fuck outta here.
he's kind of like this weird because it stated in the movie that he's done this before.
Yeah,
like,
he's
he's
a-
led rebellions in the
and-
workplace before in many different towns.
that
and he
in
just goes from
itself
place
is
to
a
place
reference,
helping people out where they need it. Like
Yeah.
he's some kind of like lone ranger of
That's a reference.
fucking the unions.
And that's something that would happen. And like I said, in that movie, In Dubious Battle in the 1910s,
Mm-hmm.
James Franco's character plays a guy who was a labor startup. He would go to places where people were economically deprived and working terrible wages for, rich industrialists, and he would get them to unionize. And oftentimes in some very shady ways, like he would. And the director doesn't show that because one, that's not exactly what he's trying to say. But people like that, those labor starters, what they would do is like they would they would cripple another member of the workforce, one of those poor people. Like they'd be on a ladder and he'd weaken the nuts on the ladder. The guy would fall and snap his leg, and they'd be like, "This is the last straw. We've got to." And it was really underhanded, and it's sort of telling you that, and this movie does as well, that the rights that you have now were not gotten fairly, and the people that gave you those rights did it in an underhanded way. And if you would have seen it firsthand, you'd have been like, well, that's not right. And they were saying like, well, this is a capitalism's a dirty game, and you got to play dirty to win it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
But I don't feel like Glenn represents any of that.
that's what I'm saying. Like he didn't really just. Like,
He doesn't ever get slimy,
Yeah, he doesn't really.
which I thought would have been cool.
His character really didn't stick out for me. Like it was like.
Yeah.
I felt like his character was like.
You know who did though? Army Hammer. Army Hammer was great. in
Man, that
this.
shit got creepy.
Exactly.
Holy
I've
shit.
never seen him make me
Like
so
I've never
uncomfortable.
seen I've never
That
seen
was
like
the creepiest shit I've seen.
I've never seen a
How-
guy with the attitude of like
Y'all
a
are so
bro.
uncomfortable
Make
on
you be
this
like,
movie.
ugh.
It was-
Even when he's like sitting down across from him after he saw the horse creatures and he's got a gun, like
the fucking
nothing.
horses is also just a thing that was just like okay in and of itself. Like what the fuck?
That just blew the weirdness hole
it
wide
completely
open.
just went left. Like I was like
90-degree turn into the cornfields,
Sure.
man.
As soon as he opened that door, because he was just trying to use the bathroom,
Yeah.
and then he runs in, and a fucking horseman comes out.
And the best joke of the movie, the only joke of the movie, happens when he goes, and he goes, I said
off.
go into the jade door. And he goes, that is a jade door. That's clearly Olive. And you know that. And he points the gun at him. I was like,
Goddamn. But yeah, that was funny. I like that.
yeah, that was good.
Like, I told you to go through the jade door. But
Also, were all the horse people done? Like, there's a lot of practical effects in this movie.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
look like
yeah.
Jim
that was really
Henson.
cool. It looked like some underworld Wolverine things. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
but like more Jim Henson-y,
Yeah,
kind of.
that's made it more creepy.
In a good way, though, yeah.
and then this is one another thing. I think this movie teaches you is to not snort anybody else's cocaine.
Oh yeah, yeah. Be mindful of what you're snorting.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug in and of itself already.
Yeah.
Don't snort anybody else's cocaine, especially
In
if
fact,
you're
be
trying
skeptical
to make it.
of your own cocaine, even
Be
if it's your own
skeptical of
personal
every cocaine
store.
that you snort.
Just like be like, where'd this come from? Maybe I should flush this down the toilet and get a job, get better with my life,
Oh my gosh.
or something.
But that's some fucked up shit because and I liked how they like the way they played it off because when he first snorted it, then dude started talking to him about this horse fucking what was it exactly?
Equus sapiens.
Equus sapiens,
Or-
and he
Equus
started
sapiens.
giving him a job offer. How he wanted him to be like his, what do you say, Martin Luther King of the
And Cassius
Equus sapiens.
is freaking the fuck out because he's like,
Oh, yeah.
I just snorted this shit. I just snorted this shit that turns me into a fucking horse.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there chilling and fuck. No man, dude, I'm telling you, you did,
The way it just
you
puts
did-
that to bed,
It's just
and then you
cocaine.
almost forget about it.
They
I
completely.
never forgot about it though.
I
I was
never-
always like, at the end, he's gonna turn into a horse or something. It's
No,
gonna be
I
real
thought
sad.
I legit thought they put it to bed because of how long they went
Oh,
without.
you guys are
mentioning it.
idiots.
Like no, like the way, cause like I thought he was gonna
I'm
turn
with
to
you,
a
Da
horse
Vinci. I
immediately.
thought they put it to bed.
Like you know, what I'm saying? I thought he was gonna turn to a horse immediately after snorting that shit.
No, I knew they were gonna save it for the end. I've seen too many like trippy movies
Yeah,
that tell me like if they introduce something in the second, they're gonna wrap it up. Like at the end of Tusk, he turns into the walrus officially. It's kind of like
Yeah.
that.
I am the walrus.
Yeah,
Cuckoo.
yeah.
yeah, fucked up, and then he wakes up and grows. a fucking
Here's
horse
here's something
nose.
that I liked. I don't think this was done intentionally. Zach, I can hear all that in the microphone.
Is this the only thing you like?
Click, click, click. No, the music in the movie was very unstereotypical, and I appreciated that.
The
didn't even-
soundtrack was dope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the soundtrack was pretty dope. I like
Yeah, but it wasn't like a bunch of.
I kind of want it actually. In fact, this might be like the first soundtrack I'm tempted to buy in like a long time.
Oh, that's the most hipster thing you've ever said.
Dude, I'm letting it all hang loose
I illegally
today.
download all my soundtracks, Rob.
I will. What? No. I will let my love for this movie just gush forth.
I wish you'd let your love or hate for every movie gush forth in every podcast.
Sometimes movies are just tepid water, and I just don't
That's
want to
fair.
even put my toes in.
That's true. Sometimes you're struggling to find anything to say about it. Ant-Man of the Wasp.
Jared, what are three things? What are three things that you didn't like about the movie?
There weren't much I didn't like about the movie.
That's what I'm talking about,
I'm
right?
so pissed off right now.
Because they're just fucking bagging on it so
I
hard.
just got done giving a
Back on the
soliloquy about how it's a very politically present movie. That's a very high praise.
It's definitely I feel as though it's in a way it's its own coming of age type movie.
Sure.
Because it basically talks about
Just because I don't think it's funny doesn't mean I think it's bad. I just think that it's not funny.
I think it's a message to the collective conscious of America
sure.
yeah. In a
that
way,
we need to hear.
we
That a lot of people
we
need to hear.
see this movie.
Dude, this is a movie
need to
from
see
a
our
radical.
faces.
This is a radical movie.
Sure.
Okay? And it's a call to fucking arms, man. All right? We gotta get it together and get out in the streets, or else we're gonna be horse people.
Let's get political.
Yeah.
Political.
You really made me think of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, actually.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Oh
kinda-
yeah, they do. I legit
You
was
know,
like,
I said that to you. I said
Yeah,
that guy looks like a Ninja Turtle when I did that.
I was
They're like glossy and
they
stuff.
look like
Dude.
very some ninja horses or some
Yeah.
shit.
Like their arms look like they're made out of like that weird plastery yoga mat material.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but
Did they have to make the dicks that big or did? Or
Yeah,
was
they
that
did. They did.
just-
Because that was one of the indicators. He had to ask his girlfriend. He had to ask
yeah,
Tessa
he asked
Thompson's
his girlfriend,
character,
hey,
like,
how-
is my dick bigger?
I did get bigger. to
That's
see
a
if he
joke,
could-
right? That's a good joke right there for you, Rob.
Hey, that was,
yeah, but it would have been funnier if he actually wanted it to be bigger. He was terrified, so I was like,
Yeah, he was terrified
for
that his
him.
dick got big. I mean, come
part
on.
of the
That's
No,
right.
it's the other way around. Like
terrified that his dick.
it would have been funny if he was like, if he saw his dick get bigger and he was like, you know, I'm gonna turn into a horse.
And then
but
it's
for
even
like 2
funnier
days,
that the
this is
dick
gonna be
wasn't
awesome.
the indicator. It was his nose.
Yeah.
That's it. God.
I'm just saying, I didn't hear
Losing
you.
it.
I'm just saying, I didn't hear you laugh that much. That's all I'm saying. For you extol the virtue.
Because I was quietly dying in my seat.
What does that mean? You can't possibly be enjoying the movie
The
on that
internal laughs.
internal
He
level.
has-
You
he
didn't
has
see me
internal-
look over at you like, what?
He laughs.
Yeah, but that's
internally.
not. That doesn't mean it's funny. That means you're just trying to see his reaction to it. Like that doesn't always mean that it's funny.
Weird.
I mean, but no, when you laugh at something, don't you look to the person next to you to see if they're laughing too?
Yeah, and if they're not, then
Fair
you feel
enough, but you
embarrassed.
weren't never laughing. Like he would turn to you and you'd be like, is that like what?
But that being said, I'm a harsh critic when it comes to comedy anyway.
Sure.
So like, since I've
I think we can all agree we need to go see Night School with Kevin Hart.
Oh, God.
oh my god,
No, thank you.
How did they get all
I'm
those
gonna be
people?
honest,
How did they
like-
get those people to say yes to that?
I like most
Money.
of the movies Kevin Hart is in, to be
So
honest.
do I.
But that one is the first one where
It
I was
looks
like, no.
horrible.
thanks.
oh my gosh.
And they have so many like Fat Joe is in it somehow.
Fat Joe, is that? I
Rob
guess because they
Riggle.
use. I'm thinking it's because they used the song "Lean Back" for the trailer of the movie. That's
They
the
should've
only
just-
reason.
Did
They should have just
Yeah,
did
I
like
didn't
every
recognize
other movie nowadays and used Kendrick Lamar in their trailer.
Hey, Kendrick Lamar in the trailer
I
is a
saw
dope
that in a
ass trailer
recent
music.
trailer.
The way they,
Shazam.
Cause-
Yeah.
because when they used the fucking song for Creed 2, they used Kendrick Lamar's.
I got
DNA.
loyalty inside
Jared,
my
you just said they
DNA.
used the
I
Kendrick
got
Lamar for
loyalty, got
Shazam too,
royalty.
didn't you?
But the way they
Yeah.
orchestrated
Yeah.
it and took his.
Zach, have you ever seen Creed?
No, but I've
Michael B.
seen
Jordan?
Rocky 3.
I saw Creed.
You've never seen Creed, seriously?
Creed is actually dope as fuck.
It is
Creed
good.
is an incredible
I
movie.
have seen Rocky 3.
It's like
That's
the
only
worst one.
Yeah.
That's the one where he fights Clubber Lang.
No, that's
Mr.
when he
T.
fights Drago.
This is the one where he's got the robot in his house.
No, that's one-
Clover Lane.
that's
That's the one where he's got the robot that like
3 is
sticks
the one where he
DVDs
fights
in his belly.
Even Drago, right?
No, two is where he,
Creed
two is he fights Ivan
Hulk
Drago.
Hogan and-
I
Whichever
thought, no,
one
two
where
was-
he's
was
got the
rematch between him
fucking
and Apollo.
robot in his living
That's number
room.
4.
Then I've only
I don't
seen
know. I
Rocky
can't remember
4.
anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
They all blur together.
It's they all over the
My
place.
point is, Creed
I've
was
seen-
dope, and I'm excited for Creed 2.
Creed 2 is gonna be fun.
All right,
Looks
we
great.
got off on a line here.
Yeah,
There's a black dude in Creed. We can talk about it. It's about the black experience.
It's about the black
Anyway.
experience.
No, that looks
Stay
good.
woke.
It does.
Good.
But yeah. See Creed,
All we
you'll
need
like
is
it.
Rodale Williams in this podcast. And this I hope Brian is listening to this fucking podcast.
He's
just So
not.
you can. You never know, man.
If I asked him to
Probably be.
promote it, he might.
Yeah. Since we started off with like some of the bad things. I wanted to talk about some more of the good things that I actually liked in the movie. I like.
Oh, really? Because you were talking so much shit about it earlier.
I was talking shit about one aspect of it.
Uh huh.
how it's not funny.
All right, what's some good things
and it
you
isn't.
like? What are some good things you like, Master Rob?
I like. Is that you just call me Massa Rob?
Master Rob?
There's a T there. Try to call me a racist.
He said Master.
Is that a Hardy?
No, you didn't say. You said Master Rob, but he interpreted it as Master Rob.
I thought like I couldn't like I'm just like I got everyone's voices going in here. Anyway,
Yeah, it's your Paul Thomas Anderson joke. I see you over there.
I thought that was a good joke.
Not really.
No, I like the fact.
God damn it, Jay.
Well, this movie was full of so many good ones. You can forgive me for. It lowers the bar so low that everyone thinks their jokes become good. But I think one part of this movie that I did like was that they use the job of telemarketing in the movie
Yeah.
to be the idea that like in order for any of these economically depressed people to get forward, they have to become salesmen for things that are horrible and terrible.
Yeah.
I also like the idea that the guy who is I don't know, their foreman or their supervisor
He's
that's
like all tatted up.
he has tattoos
and
on his face.
Yeah.
You can
and he's
tell
just
like
a
that was
crazy
the only
person.
job he could get, and then
Yeah.
he just got that job and then stayed there for 10 years.
Yeah, and every time they made a sale, they would have this weird montage of weird like they were bromancing, but it was to the point where you're like, these two dudes fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weird. I was
I
like,
like Danny Glover in this movie, man.
Yeah.
Danny
He was
Glover.
great.
Danny Glover did pretty good in this movie. He basically acted like Danny Glover.
Yeah.
He's too old for this shit.
Yeah.
Like
You can tell he was really interested in the project too, because you
'Cause
can
he's-
kind of see the smirk on his face
Yeah,
the whole
because
time.
he's only in
like
it-
He was enjoying himself.
he's only got like 5 minutes of screen time, so he'd have.
and he
to,
said,
like-
"I'm too old for this shit."
yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
he
He
said
did.
it.
He said it. He said, "I'm too old for this
I'm
shit."
too old for this shit.
I must have missed
It's
that.
great. I was like,
I was waiting for it. I was
Another
waiting
reason
for
to
him
see it
say
again.
just to catch that line.
I didn't catch it.
That's when they're sitting in the bar and he's talking about dancing and how like you used to only have to do the shuffle or whatever. And he's like, now you gotta break your neck and your arm just to whatever. He's like, I'm too old for this shit.
There's a part. There's a part in that bar that I thought was really weird, where he goes, "Give me the good stuff," and she opens a fake bottle of Jack for a
Yeah.
smaller bottle of whiskey, and I was like,
Oh,
"Why do you hide that there? If someone,
It's
if
just
someone
the
else,
weirdest shit
if
keeps
someone
happening in this
sees you
movie.
pour that, they're just
Yeah.
gonna be like, "Can I have the secret stuff that you hide in that fake bottle?"
Yeah, it was a lot of weird shit going on.
There's a part in the beginning where Tessa Thompson and Lakeith are like gonna have sex, but the door gets opened up, and then 10 seconds she goes, "I gotta go to work anyway," and I was like, "What?" You must have very low standards for your boyfriend's sexual
But that's what I'm saying.
capabilities.
There's like those, it's like those anti punchlines that happen like that throughout the whole movie.
Are they anti punchlines or are they just not funny? Like that's what
They're
I'm saying.
they're like sudden drop offs, dude.
But why is that funny?
I don't know. It's jarring and I love it.
I don't know, Rob.
but
I don't have all the answers.
But that's the point of anti-comedy. When you ask
Yeah.
the question, why is that funny? That's what anti-comedy is.
Like, I don't know.
It's like when you look at Andy Kaufman, you're like, why is this shit funny?
Sure.
But,
Fair enough.
But here he comes to
But
save
it's
the day and
fucking
make your ass laugh.
Exactly.
Yeah. What are some other good things that you guys liked about the movie?
Jared.
Jared.
Tessa Thompson.
Yeah, she hot.
Oh, yeah.
Those earrings, though. All those feminist
I
earrings.
know, right? Man, she was blinking
See,
them earrings.
that was
man.
joke after joke hidden right on her fucking ears, Rob.
Bling
You didn't
them
notice
earrings.
it at all.
I did notice it. I just didn't think it was funny. What? The thing where she says murder, 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 murder.
No, I said
with
murder,
giant
murder, murder,
gold
kill, kill,
earrings.
kill.
You thought I didn't see that?
It said murder, 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 kill, kill, kill. That's what it
Whatever. Same shit. It doesn't matter. It's not funny.
said. What about the dick earrings?
The dick earring.
Fine. Not funny.
I just
Like,
love how it
I-
kept doing close-ups of her fucking outrageous earrings,
Dick
and it
earrings.
became like some weird
it was
Tarantino.
like in a rainbow.
It's not. That's my point. Like, it's just not. Like, it's interesting, but it's not funny. Like, that's what I'm saying. If I was,
Jared, back me up on this, please.
You just
Comedy is subjective, man.
exactly.
I want to hear Jared.
Well, look, all movies are subjective, period. So I'm not right and he's not wrong.
He's on my side. He's on my side.
And I gave it a very glorifying view of its harsh political stance. So I'm not going to be made into the bad guy here, you son of a bitch.
Nobody's the bad guy.
Go ahead, Jared.
Oh,
It's your
I don't know what to say right now, man.
Let Jared. be
This
the
is
voice
as
of
heated
reason
as it's
for
ever
this
gotten.
podcast.
The movie
It is not. I don't mean any of this. I was more upset when you trashed Batman v Superman before
I'm
the podcast
just waiting
started.
for you to fucking compare this movie to Batman versus Superman.
They have nothing
Like
in
I'm
common.
waiting for the fucking Man of Steel comparison.
How? They're not. They share nothing in common. They're two diametrically.
This is why we
movies.
decided to do this podcast in the
Nothing
first
there.
place, ladies and
You
gentlemen.
mean why you decided to do it?
I had hoped
So
that
you could
one
drag
day
us to it and watch
would have.
watch you enjoy it and watch
so
us.
divisive.
This is a very divisive movie. I'm
It is.
realizing it.
It's
It-
really divisive. All right, so I was on
Yeah,
the
it's so divisive that one of us loves it, two of us like
I was
it,
on the
and
social media.
one other
I was
guy
on the-
likes it.
I was on the social media, right?
Still alive. It's
I
still
shared a trailer for this movie, and I was like stoked to see this movie. Someone commented on it saying how they had saw it, and it was like trash and garbage and stuff.
Yeah,
and I'm
she's
just like,
wrong.
no matter where you go, you're gonna hear really good things, or you're gonna hear really bad things.
Yeah,
about
I've
this
heard.
movie.
I've heard the negative.
Really? It has like a 97 on Rotten Tomatoes or something.
I've heard I've heard.
Well, according to
comments about it.
stupid people, Rotten Tomatoes is wrong.
You made that argument
That
coming
other
out of
three-
the movie.
that other
Dude,
3%.
You said you guys are just too stupid to understand it. Okay, film critic.
Yeah, I was-
Thor Ragnarok has a 94%.
I was having a momentary
too.
lapse of
That's a great
smugness.
movie.
Thor Ragnarok is totally fine.
Well, the only thing that
We're not relitigating Thor Ragnarok.
I've seen that people don't like about this movie is they don't get the humor or they don't like the jokes, and
I don't.
that's about it.
Yeah, my only thing is
That's
I just don't
about
think
it.
that there are jokes, but I also think it doesn't need jokes to be good and thought provoking.
Yeah.
And if anything, I would. Here's the difference between this movie and like they compared it to Get Out, so I'm going to compare it to Get Out a little bit. The only difference between this movie and Get Out is this movie starts from the point of view of I have a message that I want to get across to people.
Yeah.
Whereas Get Out doesn't have a message, but it gives you a message by
And
the
it
end.
hits you like a donkey punch.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
That shit.
I suppose.
Keep the whole
Get Out is about how all
related to horse animals.
yeah. Get Out is about how all of us have these little tiny things that we do every day around people of color that are
Microaggressions.
fine, but kind of racist.
Yeah.
And then it ends
Microaggressions.
it again with the I guess. And then
I
we
mean, that's basically what it's called.
yeah, and then we do and then it tops it off by having this weird thing is that white people want black people to be more like them to be comfortable. That's what Get Out's about.
Yeah.
The reason I think Get Out is better than this movie is because it doesn't start from the point of view of I have to push the message before I push the movie being
Look,
better.
look,
Yeah, yeah.
Boots. It
I would
feels
say
like
this
Boots
is the
Riley.
opposite.
It feels like
The
Boots
message-
Riley is using like the black experience thing or whatever as just like your
Sure.
introductory lens. All right,
So
but the
Black experience is more so the
it's
the
like
blanket.
it's the base start.
Yeah, it's the base.
Right,
foundation.
it's your introductory lens, but the lens to this magnifying glass opens up.
Yeah, because
Sure.
it started off
Drastically.
because it starts off. There's a lot of racial undertones. There's
Sure.
a lot of things that they start to make it more.
It becomes less about the horizontal divisions like race,
Yeah,
and
sure.
more
Yeah,
so
it
about the
starts to-
vertical divisions.
I
Yeah.
agree, but that kind of bolsters my point that the movie is and if there's a big flaw to the movie, which I don't think if it's a big flaw, but if there is a problem with it, it's because it's more concerned with the message than it is with the movie. Whereas I'd say Get Out is the opposite of that.
I will hand you this, Rob.
Yeah.
I'll concede to this. There were.
I'm not
as
asking
far-
you to concede. I think it's still good.
In my analysis of it as a movie, is it a good movie? All right, it's going to take a few hits.
I say yes.
There's
I'd say
there's
it
a
is
little
good
bit
movie.
of like wooden dialogue in the script. Unfortunately, most of it's like during Terry Cruz's bits.
Yeah, he
There
was
was
in
a
there
lot of
too.
wooden dialogue
Terry
there,
Crews?
and really he was doing his best with that with that
he-
script.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just doing his best. With
Look, when I
Some of the stuff is written a little off, but and I would also say that maybe a lot of it is just a bit too jarring. It is the kind of movie that would probably make some people just straight walk the fuck out.
yeah,
I think the jarring stuff is the
Dude, did you see some people walk out, Jared?
Well, not in my theater, but it's like the girl who commented on your post.
Oh yeah. She walked out. The girl who commented on that post.
Did she walk out, or she said she? I thought she said she walked out.
No, yeah, she
disgusted
walked
or
out.
something.
She
Oh,
walked
okay.
out the theater.
Well, she's a baby.
That's what I'm
I think
saying.
because I think the jarring parts, as we call them, are the better parts.
Yeah.
or the best parts even.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm saying about it and Get Out is just because this is more concerned with the message than it is with the movie, that doesn't mean it's a bad movie. It's good. In fact, the only way you could tell this story this way is sort of the way this movie does it. If you want to tell a surreal story about, you start off with the black experience. You say the black experience is actually the same as the poor experience, because a lot of black people are poor in this country and a lot of people of color are poor. And you can't talk about that without talking about how women are treated as second-class citizens a lot of the times. And it kind of puts it all into one big oppression pot and lets you eat from it, for lack of a better word. Whereas Get Out is first and foremost a horror movie that has, a pretty cutting edge, not satire, but commentary on how we treat black people,
Yeah.
even in ways that we think are nice.
I mean, but I think for Get Out was more so is like, okay, let's make the most realistic horror movie we could make.
Yeah.
Which is
Plus
racism.
plus the end of Get Out, I think, is
Like
more.
that's the big bad monster in that movie.
Racism is the horror that is Get Out.
Plus
like,
It's the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of my podcast, you piece of shit. Black Lagoon.
Whatever.
Oh
I
my
won't
gosh.
stand here, sir.
What do you mean a Black Lagoon? Oh my
No,
goodness.
I would say that the end of the twist of Get Out, where they're cutting out people's brains and putting them into other people's
That
brains,
shit fucked me up.
I would say that was even a little more jarring than like the scary horse guy. Like I thought whoever
I think
was
they're equally just as jarring to me. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, that fucking horse thing fucked me up because
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And then the way it just came out at you, just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like he goes to use the fucking bathroom, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah, because the whole time of Get Out, it's a horror movie, but only
Yeah.
halfway through this do you realize, there's something.
Like
real
you're
sinister.
waiting the whole
That's
movie
a good
for that
point.
one. You said it. You were waiting the whole movie.
I
for
wasn't
that one
waiting at all.
sinister thing.
I wasn't even looking for.
Yeah,
the
you don't
sinister
even
thing.
think that's
I
going to
wasn't
happen.
either.
That's not
because-
even
You
what
think the
look-
sinister
was it-
thing is just corporate capitalism in and of itself?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's billed as like this quirky, surreal comedy, and then like, oh, by the way, H.P. Lovecraft or something. Like he takes a left turn
Complete
into
left.
Well, you realize that the horses and the way that they're going about creating the Equisapiens or whatever
Yeah.
is like just another metaphor for some shit too, right?
Sure.
It's a workhorse.
workhorse.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Damn it, Jared with the enlightened response.
Well, I mean that's on its the face of it, right? That's the
Sure.
pun of it.
I mean,
But the fact is that they're the idea that poor people are only good for manual labor,
yeah.
and they're turning them into creatures that are even better at manual labor.
Yeah.
It's an idea that like it depends on how far you want to go with it. You could take
Right.
this further
That's
and
what
be
I'm
like,
talking about, where he
Yeah,
he
you can go
beats
pretty far with it.
beats the horse of the joke or the metaphor, so to speak,
I don't know about all that, but I meant like
and lets it hang there like for
I-
far too long, like a rug that he's fucking beating to death out on the line. You know?
Beating the death
I
out of
think
horse.
the thing about that part is you can take it as far as you want to take it in your head. You can say the director is saying, historically black people were thought to be less intelligent than white people, and they were thought to be good for chattel labor, but they weren't smart. Just like a horse isn't smart, but it's physically able to do, manual labor out in cotton fields. You can look at it that way, which is sort of the way that I looked at it, because all those people are, people from the ghetto or the hood or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's sort of how I looked at it. That's the way that I thought it works
Or you
best.
could see it as Jared as the literal pun workhorse.
I don't think the filmmaker is that. Like that's the thing where we go back to like we talked about in Swiss Army Man. What's the filmmaker's intent? I don't think his intent is for you to laugh or to think it's a clever pun. I think it's for you to be like, this is what's gonna happen one day.
Yeah.
They're gonna turn us into monsters. Like,
Exactly. It's like, and
and nobody gives a fuck.
They kinda
Like
dip
this doesn't feel years
they kinda
off.
dip
This
their
feels
toe in
like
the water with
a couple of
slavery.
weeks away.
Like, where it's like, they dip their toe in the water with the idea of slavery in the modern day sense, which is like
With worry free or
Yeah,
whatever.
that thing was
with worry free.
fucking sinister.
Which
dude.
is like that's looking at like Amazon, who have these giant warehouses where like you're not allowed to sit down for 10 hours a day and you can't talk to your coworkers
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So like this stuff, that idea is even more not far off. That's already almost a thing.
It's
Yeah.
they
Google-
create a system that people are dependent on, that kind of thing.
But it's a privatized system.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
for a company. So like when you look at a place like Google, which has like you can sleep here if you want. You can go home if you want to, but you can stay here. You can just give us all your information. You can just stay here forever. Like
become
Exactly.
like
becomes
a Google acolyte.
yeah, and I think that it's like that. And I'm not saying I don't think Google is. I think they do that for
Oh, come on, dude. We know Google is Skynet.
But I think
I mean,
Amazon.
have you seen the robots they're building in Boston?
No.
That shit's gonna kill us.
Oh,
They're-
dynamic.
There are robots.
Yes.
If there's anything I'm not afraid of more than anything, it's robots from Boston. Like,
Those
get
robot
out,
Boston dogs are
get
gonna
out
kill
of the
us, bro.
car. Like,
Did you
go
see the one
fuck
that opens the
yourself.
door?
Like,
Huh?
You see the one that opens the door?
Yeah, dude, and they walk in the snow and shit. Like
Yeah.
they're super adaptable.
they go play pond hockey down at the yard.
I
Anybody
need to go pick
afraid
up
of
my
those
robo
robots?
dog from the pound.
I'm not afraid of these Wahlberg robots.
I'm not afraid of those robots.
See?
They're just fun little robots.
Yeah.
They just open doors and stuff.
Yeah, they're cute.
First, it's opening a door. Next, it's opening your skull.
Yes.
God damn it.
Metal. I'm doing metal hands.
But yeah. But I had a really good point that I was going to make, and you derailed it. Thanks.
Fuck your point, Rob.
It was going to be cutting edge and present. I forgot what it was.
Your
Though.
opinion's
Cutting edge
invalid
point.
because you don't think the movie's funny.
No, I was getting back to Amazon. I think it's good though. I think it's better that it's a good movie than a funny one.
Yeah.
I just wish they wouldn't say it's the year's best comedy because I was like, the last movie I saw was funnier than this. Like, so I don't know if they should have
Right.
built it that way. I rather would they said like it's a just surreal, dramatic, whatever.
Yeah, like if they had sold it as like, hey, this
A mind-bending masterpiece.
But
Sure.
then, but then I
Funnier
think
than
I think the whole
Deadpool 2.
intention of it was
To lure you in.
to lure you in,
Sure.
so they could. So when they make that left turn, you weren't even expecting it.
That's
at all.
true. I can't take that away. I just don't like. I don't like being tricked.
It's like it's
But
pulling
that's
you by
the
the
point
tie
of
and
the
then
movie.
slaps you
Maybe.
across the
Maybe.
You
face.
see that?
Yeah.
It's the point of the movie. It comes back full circle. Zach may be right.
Zach didn't make that
I'm
point. I
telling
made that point.
Do we want to live in a world where Zach is right?
No, get out.
Guys, I'm right like 90% of the time. It's just no
You're
one
right.
listens.
0%.
That was money well spent. What really killed me was like you guys got in free, and I still had to pay for mine. Like,
Yeah.
the capitalist
Socialist
system
Brothers
that I'm
Unite.
stuck in.
Hey, that movie pass though.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's
movie
collect.
pass?
Just to be clear to the audience, we didn't sneak into the movie theater. We had me and Da Vinci.
Yeah, we're
had free
upstanding
passes.
citizens.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember
Get
sneaking
that
into a
movie
movie
pass,
theater.
What's the first movie that you snuck into, Jared?
What was it? Urban Legend?
Oh
What?
God.
Yeah, Urban Legends.
What is that?
This is a terrible horror movie.
Yeah, I've seen it. I was like, ugh.
Is it like from the 80s or something?
No,
No,
it's
it's like the
from
late 90s.
2000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Late 90s, 2000. Yeah,
First
late
one I
90s.
snuck into
Yeah.
was remember that movie with Matthew McConaughey where they fight dragons, Reign of Fire?
Fuck no.
It's pretty cool.
Still haven't seen it.
It's not bad. It's like one of those
I
B
wanna
movies
see
that
it.
it's pretty awesome. It's the first time you thought Matthew McConaughey could be a badass. Because I watched
Okay.
that movie and I was like,
Now I have to see it.
because he shows up and his head is shaved and he's got that
Like
1,000
even in
yard
True
stare.
Detective, he's not really a badass. He's just a heavy drug user.
Yeah, watch Reign of Fire. It's pretty awesome.
We got a badass here.
What's the first movie you snuck into, Da Vinci?
Oh man, I don't think I've ever snuck into it.
Goody two shoes.
Nah, man. I was.
Seriously, no Sunday matinees, nothing.
No, actually, I did, but that was a while ago. It was what was it? Damn it, I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't remember the exact movie.
Do you remember the genre?
Not even that. But
Smokes and Sin. I feel you. The last movie I
It's
sn-
been a very good movie.
yeah.
I don't think it was.
This is
doing
Matt-
other things besides watching the movie.
This is Matthew McConaughey in Reign of Fire.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, Comptroller.
Holy shit.
Nice.
I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like he.
He looks like a Skyrim character.
That's what,
Yeah.
yeah.
This came out in 2002.
What? He
And the
doesn't even
dra-
look like this. He looks like 30 years older than he does
That's
in,
what I'm saying.
in
That's what I'm saying.
Interstellar.
It's an awesome movie, and nobody gives a shit about it, and it bugs me.
Like he looks like he belongs in.
Sleeper hit.
Yeah, the dragons in the movie like hold up too, like better than like
Like what do they hold up? Like saddles?
This no, the CGI is.
Oh, okay.
Like, it still looks good. I'm not giving you that shitty joke. I'm not even falling for it. So you get the fuck out of here. Do we want to talk about? Do we have anything else we want to say before we can? I thought we could talk some more about movies that try to subvert you, in a way, or maybe movies that are I don't want to be condescending, but like movies that are bigger into their message than maybe they are as a movie, for lack of
Movies
a
that
better
are
word.
bigger into the message.
Do we even want to talk about that?
movies that made you like evaluate your views of the world?
that
Maybe
just really made you think.
the impactful movie.
Man,
Sure.
Get Out made me think a lot.
That maybe are a little surreal. But we
I
should-
mean,
Can't leave that
yeah,
out.
but even like movies like
Fight Club
like usually
or-
movies like that would be
That-
more so into the sci-fi.
what'd you say? I didn't hear you both
Fight
said it.
Club.
Fight
Fight Club. Yeah,
Yeah, I can
this is
think-
right up there with
Yeah,
Fight Club
man.
for me.
Yeah,
It's right up there.
yeah. It's like there are certain movies that get real surreal, like
I can feel some Fincher in this movie.
Yeah,
Fight
he's
Club or The Matrix or
favorite
something like that.
characters ever.
Like
These are all too. These movies are too good. It's like I mean, like a movie that's surreal and weird.
Okay, I said it earlier. I'll compare
I mean,
it to
Matrix
Eternal
is
Sunshine of the
really
Spotless Mind.
I haven't seen that though. I need to.
Well, it's like that in the surreal mind.
Have you guys
that
ever
makes
seen
sense.
Being John Malkovich?
Yes.
Oh
A
yeah.
little bit of that here. Some of that, like the weird way that like when he.
I love how when he gets on a call,
That's what I was gonna say.
that's one of the best parts of the movie is how they handle.
He's next to whoever.
Yeah,
like,
he
if they're
just
having
just
sex,
like
it's
drops
like
him right
there.
into the living
Yeah, I
room
really
with
like
whoever he's
that
talking
part.
to.
yeah,
It also makes you feel bad for the next time a telemarketer calls you, like some poor guy trying to make a sale. You won't just go clink and hang up on them.
Yeah, I've done
I'll
stuff
still
that's-
do it. I
that
don't give a
was,
sh.
Similar to that.
Yeah.
Trying to get donations for something.
No, I was working for insurance companies.
Give me your pitch. What was your phone pitch?
Yeah, what was your
Like
script?
ring me up and like do the script. Now do it. Do it.
Yeah,
Do it.
really?
Do it.
Yeah,
Stick
Do
to
it!
the script.
I'm okay with not doing it.
Okay.
Stick to the script. Isn't that what they
stups,
say
stus, stus.
Yeah, he said stuss. No, that's not how it sounds.
Stuss.
It's stits.
in the movie?
Yeah, beat that.
Stick to the script.
But what are some other movies that did that? I'm trying to think here.
Stuck to the
Maybe
script.
Office Space.
Yeah, I can get a little bit of that in this. There was I'm trying to think what the fuck it was called. I want to say like Terrence Malick's movie do this, but you've never seen any of his movies. My brother thinks they're amazing, and I don't.
There's some Coen Brothers kind of stuff going on in this movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, it is first time director, and I think he knocked it out of the park, and I can't wait to see his next film.
Yeah, I hope his next movie is something a little more conventional, so I can actually see what he does with like a story, just like a story. And this is
I hope he
technically a
does
story.
something just as radical.
I hope he doesn't, because then every time I go see one of his movies, I'm like,
Radical.
Like,
What
dude,
giant
this was
thing?
more meta. Like, this was more meta than Tropic Thunder. Like, do you remember how meta that movie was?
yes.
Tropic Thunder?
Remember how
Yeah.
funny that movie
Dude,
was?
Tropic Thunder is funny as fuck.
What I'm talking about.
Dude, like
You can
and
be
the
meta
fact-
and funny.
and that's the thing. Like, it's so funny. Like, Tropic Thunder is so funny. Robert Downey Jr. got away with wearing blackface. That's
Yeah, he
how
did.
funny that.
Oh
movie
my
was.
god, I didn't even think about that.
It's straight up blackface. He's playing a black dude, literally.
Yeah.
With the skin tone.
That's like 4 layers of meta deep.
Yeah, but it's funny as fuck.
I
Just-
love the trailers before that movie.
Yeah.
No, the fake trailer. I thought you meant like the
Yeah,
trailers
the
for the
fake-
movie.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, what are you talking about? Oh, the trailers in the movie.
Yeah.
That's genius.
Kirk Lazarus in, like,
He plays like every like Australian Russell.
he plays all the
Crowe
Oscar
shit.
bait movies and
all
shit.
the Oscar bait movies. Yeah.
Jack Black movies. Hilarious.
Jack Black
Yeah.
movies. He does all the fucking
Like the clumps. He does like all the,
very-
like
the
a
Eddie-
shitty fucking
lowest
Eddie
common
Murphy
denominator
franchised
movies.
comedy movies.
Yes.
The lowest common denominator type comedy.
Yes.
movie.
You know what movie? You know what movie I did think was kind of like this in the sense it's not as dark, but it has like those kind of cool, not dreams. They're not dream sequences, but like they're
Fried green tomatoes.
no, but they're all in that person's. They're all in a person's head. Did you guys ever see The Secret Life of Walter Mitty?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can. Oh yeah, I can
That's a
feel you
really
on that.
good movie.
it is.
Oh.
It's very heartwarming, and this is
Yeah.
not that at all.
This is like the complete opposite.
Yeah, it's
The
weird that I
act-
even picked
yeah.
it. It's weird that I even
I've
picked that
I've seen
now.
the original and the new one.
I didn't know it was a remake.
There's a remake.
Yeah, it was a remake.
Who did the first one? When was the first one? How was the first
Oh
one?
yeah, The
What do you
Secret Life of
mean?
Walter Mitty. That was a remake.
It
Like,
wasn't
was-
as good as the newer one.
Is this like a Mandela effect thing where we think it's
No,
a
it's
remake, but I
real.
look it up and I'm like, those liars.
That's
No,
why I
it's
didn't
real.
want to see A Star Is Born because it's just a remake.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based on what? Is this another Mandela effect thing?
No, it's really a remake.
It's really
But
remake.
based on what?
A Star is Born.
The original.
A
fucking
Star is
movie.
Born. Yeah.
This is a
But
remake.
Bradley
Star is
Cooper is
Born.
directing it.
It's a
I will
fucking
control
remake.
the crap out of this.
Yeah.
right
A
now.
Star is Born.
I wanna know if
Judy
that's true.
Garland
Let me
movie.
Google it.
Yeah.
Let me go AFM for
I
a
don't know
minute.
what you're talking about. A remake of that movie.
I feel like my
A
whole life has just been
Star
opened up now.
A Star is Born over Bethlehem that night.
That was good.
A Star is Born, 1954.
Dave
Yeah,
Chappelle
that's
is
the
in this
only
movie.
that
Yeah,
has that
Dave
title.
Chappelle is in the movie for money, of course.
Yeah. But Bradley Cooper is directing
Actually,
it.
I'm sorry, 1937.
Wow. What was it about then? Some showgirl singing doo-wop or something?
Burlesque, I guess.
I
A
guess.
Star is Born is a 1937 American Technicolor romantic drama film produced by, directed by William A. Wellman. From a
Wow,
script
that is an old ass name.
Wow, that sounds
William
really...
Dorothy
A.
Parker, Alan
Wellman.
Campbell, and starring Janet Gaynor.
You can tell all these names.
You just made those
are
up. That
dated.
doesn't even
No, I'm
exist.
not.
You're just trying to make me look stupid.
All those names would sound dated as fuck. Like you can tell.
Anyway, Zach told me he wants to do a move, like an episode on that, where I bring in some of my music industry friends, and I was like, "But you told me that you actively hated that trailer."
And it was a film, and it was a movie in 1976.
Are these just movies with the same title that happen
No,
to be?
this is about it. A rock star on the
So it's been
decline, John
remade
Norman
more than
Howard,
once.
Chris Christopherson. Ooh, Chris Christopherson was in this one.
Oh, that
has
is-
given in
that
to
doesn't mean the new
drugs
one's gonna
and
be good.
excessive drinking, and his music has suffered as a result. Wandering into the club one night, John watches singer Esther Hoffman.
You know what this
Barbara
is?
Streisand.
You know what this is? This is that.
Warm
fucking
and is
Streisand.
smitten. The two begin. That makes so much sense.
Barbara fucking Streisand.
Oh my god. That in the remake of a Barbara Streisand movie, Lady Gaga is playing Barbara
Lady fucking
Streisand.
Gaga. That's what I just thought about. Out of all.
That's
Okay.
great.
You know what that movie is? It's just that movie. You ever see that movie with Jeff Bridges, Crazy Heart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that
It's Crazy Heart.
without the lady. No, there's a lady in it. It's the same movie, even though it's a remake.
It's just Walk the Line. It's not even a true story.
Walk the Line is a
You telling
way
me
better
Crazy
movie.
Heart was a remake?
No, I'm saying it's the same movie.
Oh.
It's about an
It's the
aging
same-
over the hill country star.
Same thing.
Same essence of.
Colin Farrell's in that movie.
Yeah.
It's really weird to see him as a country singer.
All right. So we're running up the clock a little bit.
This is this podcast is going to go for 4 hours.
4 hours.
No.
We're gonna do one of those Rogan casts.
Yeah.
No.
They go for like a whole fucking afternoon.
I love those podcasts. I
we
listen to
can
them all the time.
throw some
Hey,
steak
yeah,
on the barbecue
Rogan
while we're on the
podcast
mic.
is
Like,
I love the Rogan podcast.
Yeah.
In any
Why do you want to see that movie though?
huh?
Why do you?
I don't want to see
You-
it. I just
you brought
want.
it up.
I just want an excuse to do a special episode.
We should just do Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't want to do
Oh
two
yeah,
of
the
them.
Freddie Mercury movie.
That looks like a good movie.
Yeah.
It looks like it'll be.
No,
pretty
yeah, I
good.
can't wait.
Yeah, but I'm saying like you said you wanted to do both of them. I was like, let's just do Bohemian,
Were you talking
All right.
about that movie?
or let's just do like Bohemian and watch like Hustle and Flow. We can just sit here and
Hustle and
watch it.
Flow. Oh, you haven't seen Hustle and
I
Flow?
have. It's a great movie.
Oh.
I know. I'm
Hard out here for a pimp.
Hey, man.
friends with some of the guys who were in that movie.
Really?
So the guy
Okay.
that DJ goes to when he goes to the gas station.
You're friends with Terrence Howard?
No, let me finish my
Oh,
fucking
man.
story.
Holy
man,
shit, you're
where
friends
you
with
going,
War
man?
Machine, bro.
Will you let me finish
Yeah.
my story? Thank
I'm
you.
finish the story, man.
Kind of like, oh, Terrence Howard. Oh, reference. No wonder you think this movie's funny.
Rob's friends with Terrence Howard.
So in the movie Hustle and Flow,
Holy shit.
DJ goes into this gas station. It's like near the beginning of the film to
Yo, DJ.
find his weed guy who gives
Yeah.
him weed. The guy behind the counter is Josie Scott. Josie Scott is the lead singer
Josie.
of Saliva. Click, click,
click,
boom.
boom.
That guy.
And the Pussycats.
Yeah. And I've. Are you gonna let me finish my story, Zach?
Continue, man.
Thank you.
Oh, you're talking about spit or something?
No, I'm talking about the lead singer of Saliva,
You
the
kinda
rock,
look like
The
that
lead
guy.
singer of Drool.
the multi-platinum selling rock band.
Hell yeah.
I want you all to, I want the listeners to know
Hey, you
very
gotta admit,
carefully
that was
that
funny.
Zach is the only one laughing, just like he's the only one
Actually,
laughing.
Jared is
at
laughing
that
too,
movie.
man. Jared's laughing. You got to give Jared his credit. He, when Jared laughs, he's laughing hard, but he doesn't laugh hard.
He's chuckling.
No, his chuckle is him laughing hard.
Fair enough.
Like this. I've never seen Jared laugh out loud at something that was extremely funny. He'll chuckle, but he's dying on the inside. Just let you know.
That's more of an insult to Jared that he's laughing with that.
Weeping.
Yeah, I die on the inside a lot. It's happened more than once.
Nice.
Like an apple he rots from.
I'm gonna
the core.
finish my story now.
So what about drool?
It's not drool. It's saliva.
Like,
the name of the band.
That's a huge difference. No,
Don't kick the mic stand.
I'm so sorry. That's a band name.
Yes.
You don't know about saliva?
No.
Would you? Does the saliva go in the drowning pool?
No.
God, really?
Jared had to get away from the mic for me.
Can I finish my story?
I'm done.
Are you?
I'm turning
Because
my mic off.
I'm pretty sure you're not. There's not a switch on there. So, anyway, in the movie, DJ goes to buy weed from a guy. The guy behind the counter is Josie Scott, the lead singer of Saliva. Notable for their hits like "Ladies and Gentlemen" and "Click Click Boom" and "Always." Now,
Always was a good song.
it's okay. So Saliva was a big band that came out from Memphis, and I'm friends with a lot of bands from Memphis. So they were the first band that blew up, and because of that, bands like Egypt Central, Shinedown, Skillet, and all those
You
bands.
know who
got
else is
signed.
from Memphis? 3-6 Mafia.
Yeah, they
Yes.
won. They won the
Won.
Oscar for best original song.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hard Out Here for a Pimp.
Yep.
I mean,
But because
I always laugh at that shit. Every time I think about Hustle and Flow, I think of the fact that 3-6 Mafia won an Oscar.
But because I got to, because I worked in Memphis so much doing like all sorts of music stuff, I got to meet Josie Scott a couple times. And I didn't know it at the time, but I actually got to meet the guy who made the movie, Craig Brewer. Yeah.
Cool.
So there is my Hustle and Flow story.
I heard that.
Also, that's a dope movie. Period. As a
Yeah,
music,
it
as
His
far as
Hustle and Flow is full of saliva.
It's a good movie. Don't get me wrong. I just find it hilarious that Terrence Howard
has a perm.
and is acting like a pimp throughout the entire movie. He has one hoe. Matter of fact,
He has
Like,
two hoes.
dude,
but
the-
one's
he has
pregnant.
two hoes. One is pregnant, and he's trying to get a fucking record deal
Yeah.
by Ludacris.
Yeah, yeah. Ludacris is in that. I forgot about
Ludacris
that.
is in the movie.
Luda?
Luda.
Luda.
This
And I
is
just
before
think-
Ludacris was in like all those Fast and Furious movies too. It was like the first
No,
big thing
it
he was in.
It was after the Fast and Furious movies. It was like
This is before he was
This
ever
after-
fast
this
or
is-
furious.
yeah, this is after Too Fast, Too Furious.
Fair enough.
This was still the O'Reilly years of his career.
But this
This was slow and level-headed, Ludacris.
this is the thing though. They said that to prepare like Terrence Howard's part, to prepare for his part, he spent 2 years interviewing over
Pimps.
123 pimps.
That's a lot of
Wow.
pimps.
He didn't interview
So he
me,
really
though.
did know how hard it was out
He
there for
really
those
knew
pimps.
how hard it was out
Oh,
for a
man.
pimp. But like,
Should've
I did
got
not
me
know
on the
that.
line.
That's interesting.
yeah.
It's
Could
weird.
you
but it's
imagine like
interesting.
immersing yourself in pimp culture? It is.
I mean, I've been there.
I mean, yeah, I know. I actually,
What?
you know, I
When have
actually-
you been there, Jared? Hang on. What? What?
I actually know a couple pimps, but like you know,
You all know me.
but but it like when I was watching, it, I was like, oh my gosh, it was hilarious just because it's Terrence Howard,
Yeah.
but he did a good role. It was
Yeah.
definitely a good role.
Like I don't even like. That's the first time I ever saw him in a movie, and I was like, "That's just how that guy talks."
Really?
And then you see him in an interview, and he's like, very nice spoken and eloquent. And you're like, "Oh, I don't know how I feel about this now." Something about
you in
something about a
charge.
something about. Is there something? Is there something? Is there something about like something weird about like a rich actor guy pretending to be a poor,
Yeah.
down on his luck piece of
That-
shit?
that's the-
like something.
Yeah,
weird.
it's like watching Robert Downey go back to drugs, man.
It's just like it makes me feel weird because I bet you there's like an actual poor piece of shit. And I'm like, why don't you just get him to do the role?
Or get
He
an
could probably use the money.
pimp. Nah, just
Get an actual pimp.
get an actual.
No,
pimp.
you don't want to contribute to
Matter of
sex.
fact, get Bishop Don Juan and get his ass and he would have murdered Hustle and Flow. I
Oh
guarantee.
my land.
I want to see Mr. White Folks.
All right.
I wanted there to be the equivalent of the old dude from the Mac, the blind pimp.
Okay,
I felt like he would have been great.
I've got a question.
Hustle and Flow.
If you were to replace Lakeith Stanfield, the standout of this movie, with any other actor, would it work? And also, follow up, who would it be?
First of all, would it work? You act like this guy is like the most amazing actor in the history of the world. I've seen him in 2 movies. Yes,
Dude,
it
I
would
mean,
work.
like, he's pretty much
It's the only movie I've seen.
he's the hinge upon which this movie works.
how?
man.
Like, how is he the
Like
hinge?
all of the vulnerability he displays, all of the fucking like, dude's got chops, man.
Let me just
you
add.
got some-
Yes, it would work. And who would I cast? I would cast Michael B. Jordan.
And he's such.
And I would make him lose 30 pounds for the role.
I think
'cause he
Michael
would
B.
do
Jordan
it.
would be shit in this role. To be quite honest with you,
Yeah, I don't think Michael
I
B.
don't
Jordan
think
would.
he'd-
he's
Yeah,
too.
great.
He has too much. He's too. I don't want to say full of himself, but he has.
I wouldn't
too
say that.
much-
He's very.
He's got that
He-
confidence
he-
about
Yeah,
him.
He has a lot
confidence.
of masculine energy in his.
Right, Lakeith.
He's very masculine dominant in his energy when he gives acting.
Like Stanfield bends and sways with the wind. You know,
Does
doesn't.
he, or does he just talk like a weird black dude who's not super hood a lot of the time?
I don't
and
even know
that-
what that means, Rob. I'm
No,
gonna.
that
like
was his
he's
character.
talking about the the black people who don't get embraced by their own community as much because they think, oh, you talk white.
Yes.
You
Yeah, he's
act
probably a nerd. Who cares? I'm talking about his acting here.
Should I cast Donald Glover? Would it work?
No, Donald Glover wouldn't have worked the same.
I disagree
I
with
don't-
you.
white.
He has
Donald-
such this
Donald
weird.
Glover
Glover
made a
probably-
career out of playing weird black dudes. Like that's
Donald
his,
Glover could probably pull it off.
Yeah, thank you.
I think Donald. That's what I'm saying. Like the weird black dudes weren't embraced in the black community. Like
Yes.
weird black dudes were just not. They got called faggot. They got their ass beat.
Yeah.
It was just that's just what happened.
Sure.
What it is.
I'm sure there's a bunch of like no-name actors that we've never heard of that could do it too.
Yeah.
Because Lakeith Stanfield was a no-name actor till like Get Out.
Till Get Out. Yeah.
So like I don't,
In Atlanta. So
yeah, which has Donald Glover in it, which bolsters my point. Thank you, Da Vinci.
I just can't win at all in this cast.
I think it's a good movie. I've accepted
you're
most of
technically
your
right
premise.
about
I'm right
The
about
cast
every
is really
single
good
thing.
in this movie.
about the movie and the comedic aspects of it. I give you that.
The reason that you brought that up is because you have an opinion about whether or not it could work without him. So
I
tell-
don't think it could.
Yes.
I don't think it would have.
And tell us why.
I don't think it could work. without
Because I just said it. I don't think another actor could be able to like lend themselves to the kind of like vulnerability and fucking like
I think
and-
you could probably switch the roles.
his mannerisms and shit and just the way he parses through that dialogue and shit. Like it feels super fucking genuine and grounded even in this crazy batty outlandish fucking movie.
Yeah, he does make it look genuine.
Sure.
Like he's the one thing in that movie that you follow him throughout the whole thing and he's just making all the decisions and shit you probably would in
that situation.
in able to convince you that those decisions that he's making throughout the movie are genuine and shit. Like
Sure.
he's good at it. Like
Yeah.
the
He
like
really expressed the motive of that character, where it's like
it's good.
yeah, where he's just like, man, all this awful shit is just happening to me.
I
Jared.
think
Yeah,
you could
I'm just
switch the
stuck in this.
roles of the main character and his best friend, and you'd have the exact same movie.
I
Think about
do
it.
not disagree with that premise.
Oh yeah, his best
You would.
friend. Yeah, dude was
'Cause
kind
they
of
could
more.
both play those characters.
He was more kind of like his character is more kind of the comedic relief.
Andre,
in a
I think his
sense.
name was
I think so.
something like that.
He was more so the comedic relief.
The guy who looked like Chance the Rapper.
They were
The
both
one-
kind of having the
Remember-
same
His
struggle.
only black
Yeah.
friend in the movie.
his only black friend. in the
That's what I'm
movie?
talking about, yeah.
Yeah. He's a comedian actually. Like
I don't-
yeah, like I remember seeing
What is it?
him before. I've watched his stand up.
Did we talk
Flower.
about how stacked the cast was already?
Yeah, the cast.
Okay.
I
Just
don't
making
think, I don't
sure
think we
we-
did. I think we just mentioned the voices.
No, we didn't. Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah, the cast is stacked. We're talking about like even like Patton Oswalt.
Like the stack is the cast is stacked. The cast is stacked with like, but it's a bunch of those people actors. It's not stacked with a bunch of A-listers. It's stacked.
not A-listers.
It's stacked with like even among comedians.
No.
Everyone knows David
It's-
Cross.
Dude, in terms of comedians, I look, they're just the ancillary voices. That's all they really even are in this
Sure.
movie. But you take David Cross and you take Patton Oswalt; those are two very distinct and
Exactly.
and nerdy, comedic voices. Like they speak to a very specific thing. Like
Sure.
like all of these cast members, like the casting department in this production. Hats off to you, because that's what I think is one of the best parts about the movie is it's very selective and pinpoint casting.
Sure, but like the implication when you say the cast is stacked, it means it's stacked with like raw superstars or something. And I was like, I don't think that they're all raw superstars. I think it's a bunch of like the up and comers who are like the perfect people to play, except for Steve Yeun, who doesn't need to be in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody's gonna know who Patton Oswalt is anymore. I mean, it's not. Really,
Patton Oswalt isn't really a household name. You think?
I think he probably is, but he's not in the movie physically. So you don't. Some people would recognize Patton Oswalt if they saw him.
I didn't catch it for a while.
Yeah, me neither. It took me like halfway through hearing.
It took me a minute to get. Oh yeah, the dude from Power is in the movie. Like,
Oh yeah, he is.
yeah, he has the fucking
Eye patch
on and shit.
and that weird beard. That beard is like out of
Which
Hunger
I
Games.
It's
think
a mustache. It's mustache. It's a mustache chops.
When he mentioned the power caller and power, I guess that's his way of referencing his show. About power.
Yeah, maybe.
So that's why I was thinking like that might have been a reference there.
There's a lot of things in this movie that don't really break the fourth wall, but reference things that are in our world that wouldn't necessarily belong in the world that's created and set up for you in the movie.
Such as?
Like what he just talked about, like the reference to Power, or like
I thought that was bullshit. I didn't even like when he said like the show Power. I didn't even like know that was a show until he just said that just now. I knew that. I recognized that guy from somewhere, but I was like,
like if you look at
I don't think they're-
okay, the year is the same in the movie as it is in real life, but like if you look at the fashion,
no, it's 2017.
whatever.
So it's last
a
year.
year before. So that if you look at all the fashion and everything like that, and just like the way things are, like it's so out of place. Like looks like it belonged more in like the mid '90s or something. Which is just
so
like
it has references to the 90s.
yeah.
What were we talking about?
What were we talking about?
The movie doesn't break the fourth wall, but references stuff. I thought the Power reference was at best innocuous. Like when he said you could be a power caller. I didn't think they
I'm
were
getting too
referencing
old
the
for
show.
this shit.
Okay, that's a good one.
Getting too old for this shit, definitely.
Yeah. I want some more. I want some examples.
Oh yeah, I like how you were saying.
Man, I gotta watch it again. I really gotta watch it again.
TLC.
No, remember how you were saying that the main character was kind of like
Yeah, it was like Darius Part 2. Like it felt like kind of like he was channeling some of his like character from Atlanta a little bit in this role.
Yeah, his
which
character
is
from
fine. I
Atlanta.
liked it. The character lends itself to that, and it felt like the first like third of the movie felt like Darius Chronicles or
Having
something.
not seen Atlanta, is how similar is he from Atlanta to this?
Very similar. It's pretty-
In terms of like being a weird dude, he's weirder in Atlanta.
He's weirder in Atlanta. Definitely weirder.
Do you think this guy is going to get typecast as the not super black guy? The Michael Cera of black dudes?
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh.
Like nobody's signing up for that.
almost accurate.
The Michael Cera of black
I feel like
dudes
you're
is Donald Glover.
almost there.
The Michael Cera of black dudes is Donald Glover,
funny.
but this guy is like a close second.
Oh my god.
Is,
No,
is that guy in season 1 of it?
More like a black Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
This guy is not black Keanu Reeves.
sure he is.
No,
I
Keanu Reeves.
He does a lot of this. Why?
No, he doesn't. That's a
Why?
terrible impression, and I hate that you think it's funny.
He's such a skeptic. Keanu Reeves is such a skeptic. Such a skeptic.
Whoa.
I'm just saying, Keanu Reeves could actually.
There's a bomb on this bus.
Keanu Reeves could actually kick someone's ass, though. And Lakeith David looks like
I don't know,
know
man.
Kung
He
Fu.
might be
Why do
able
you
to kick
keep
some
fucking
ass,
up his
man.
last name, dude?
I don't know because I keep wanting to call him Lakeith Williams because I have a friend.
Called him Lakeith Johnson earlier, and
Because
I
I-
just like let it ride.
because I have a friend of mine whose name is.
Subconscious racism.
I have a friend of mine. No, I have a friend of mine. I have a friend of mine named LeJohn Williams, and that's why I keep bringing that name up because I keep confusing him.
sure.
Friend named John Williams.
LeJohn Williams.
John.
Yes, I do. That's his name. What do you want? Are you saying a black person can't have the name LeJohn? You
No, I
racist.
was saying you had a friend named John.
Did he do the score for the blaxploitation version of Star Wars?
I didn't
No.
hear the
No, he did
love
not, Zach.
part.
The black exploitation.
That was Daquan Williamson. Thank you very much, you piece of shit. No. Lakeith Stanfield is not black Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves could legitimately kick your ass. And Lakeith Stanfield would hurt
Hey
himself
man, you
if he
never
stood
know,
up too
man.
fast.
You
I
never
so
know.
wish
We don't
you'd
know
come
this
in here
guy's
and
training
kick your ass
regimen,
right
man.
now.
Yeah.
We don't know his training regimen, man.
Like, he
might
does
get
look like a
low-key,
stick,
kick some
though.
ass.
He looks like he would faint if he stood up too fast.
Or maybe or maybe that's just how he sells it, man. He sells it like he can't kick no ass, but if you really push him in the corner, he might be trying.
Just saying, he went out like a bitch in Get Out, so he didn't even. The
different
guy
movie.
comes up behind him and puts a
Look,
cloud
man.
over
Look,
his mouth.
man. Look, man. I think he's the next Tom Hanks.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I fucking do, Rob.
You think he's gonna become the next America's nice uncle? That's what Tom Hanks is.
Oh no, not the next like nice uncle. No, like shit. He's gonna be the next John Malkovich.
What does that even? John Malkovich wasn't even the first John Malkovich. He's not good enough to be like
Fine. He's gonna be okay. Lakeith Stanfield is gonna
be the next Donald Glover. While Donald Glover is
No,
No,
not even.
no,
He's
not
not.
even.
He's not even.
Not
They're not even
even.
comparable.
Not even.
I need to watch.
All
it.
right, they're on like two separate tracks.
Two completely different lanes.
Why do you even bring up this question?
What? Whether or not he's the
Because I'm just trying to
black
punch up
Keanu
Lakeith
Reeves.
Stanfield because he's becoming one of my favorite actors.
After 3 movies,
He's
2
a good-
movies in
And a whole
I
season
think
of
he's a
Atlanta.
good actor,
Atlanta,
though.
yes.
Yeah, I think
I need to watch
Let's
Atlanta.
just wait
Two
until
whole
we get
seasons.
5 movies, guys.
No, I ain't
He's not
trying to.
enough.
That's what I'm saying. Like he needs to have a longer.
He could turn out like Hayden Christensen, get his Star Wars, and then never work again.
Ugh,
He
hope so.
shouldn't work.
I hope not. Hey, give me that microphone before I forget.
Before I forget.
That way I won't forget it. There's another mic under there. That's where I was looking for it the whole time. Now I feel bad because Jared's on the shitty mic the whole time. Couldn't find the 2 good ones right here. Keanu Reeves could beat the shit out of no, I'm kidding.
Oh my god! All right, so like the horses that
But like that's
It's time to end the podcast. Is what
that
Zach's trying to do.
destroyed us at the
no,
end
what
of
I'm
this movie.
saying, man. Like if he was gonna be like the black Keanu Reeves, because like you think
Funny, I don't know.
that,
This is so funny.
this is the thing. No, like he could possibly, because they've been thinking about remaking the Matrix, right?
With
And-
Michael.
And originally,
Why would
feel you,
do
dude.
that?
if they were to do
doing it.
remake,
Making
I will
a
be
shitty
the black guy
sequel.
Look,
because
I-
it was originally going to be a black
I
guy.
were doing
hate
it,
remakes,
Michael B.
but I would be down as shit for that.
The black guy.
Michael B. Jordan is going to be.
And then Morpheus is going to be played by a Mexican guy.
No, Morpheus is being played by Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan playing Morpheus.
They've
No,
all-
you
yeah,
need,
they've all-
you need
he's-
somebody with a
Ah,
bigger
man.
gap in his teeth.
You got to have something. You got to
The
have
gap in
somebody-
Morpheus's
Magneto.
teeth is canon.
Like the remake of The Matrix isn't The Matrix. It's going to be a prequel about Morpheus discovering the one or whatever
Oh, for real.
with Michael B. Jordan.
So it's going to be a prequel.
Yes.
Badass.
That would be dope. Like,
Badass.
but I was just thinking because it was like.
Why are you so excited? You hate the Matrix movies. And so do
Dude,
I.
no, I fucking love those
But
movies.
the thing
You like
was,
the first.
it
I
was
like him.
I like the
the thing
first
was-
3
You like the Matrix
and the
movies?
animated movie.
3? There's only-
Why am I just now hearing about this? This is like 4 episodes of content,
But
Zach.
the thing about the Matrix is like like they originally planned it for
Stretching
like,
an
the main
allegory
character.
way too
Neo
far.
was supposed
That's
to be
what
a
the
black
Matrix
guy.
is.
Neo was going to be a black guy originally because Will Smith.
Will Smith was going to do it. Yeah,
Will
that's
Smith
right.
was going to do it, but he turned it down.
Will Smith would have
Fucking
fucked up that
West.
role. Will Smith would have fucked up.
You think he
that
would have
role.
fucked it up?
Yeah, because Neo is written to be like a really reserved, quiet,
No, but you're saying
contemplative
that- you're
fucking
saying that
person.
with
Will Smith
Will
is
Smith-
not that guy. He would have been like, "Ha ha, time to save the world." Like,
No,
You
you're
think he
saying-
would have brought too much comedy into
You're only
it?
saying
No,
that
he would've
now,
just been too
though.
bombastic.
You're saying that with
You know
Will
what I mean?
Smith now. You're looking at Will Smith now when he's
But,
like,
like,
the
that's what
biggest
I'm
thing
saying,
ever.
like,
1999 Will Smith was not now Will Smith.
no, that I'm. Dude,
He had done Independence Day and like
and
that's
Fresh Prince. Yeah, he still would have fucked that role. You couldn't have Will Smith as Neo, dude.
I bet you could have. I bet you we would have crushed it.
No.
I bet you.
I
Keanu Reeves crushed it. If someone had told you Keanu Reeves is going to play a man who becomes like one with like the internet and gets superpowers,
But he
you would've
does
said,
it. He
"Get
does it.
the
He
fuck
does
outta
it
here."
in the most modest way possible. Are you telling me Will Smith could have played that role modestly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he could have. He
Killing
probably,
me.
he probably,
You're killing me over here.
he probably could have, man. Would I say? But now looking at the way Keanu Reeves did the role,
And also
would he-
He
people
would be
hate
like,
those.
"Ooh, haha, that's a black cat glitching the Matrix."
But like, also people hate the Matrix movies. So like,
I
People
like-
hate the
if we're
sequels.
if we're deciding, yeah,
they hate the
sequels.
The original.
So if we're
the third
saying,
one wasn't that bad.
if
though.
we're
You
saying
get
third one is the one that people hate the most,
It's the worst
Oh,
one.
exactly.
Jared.
Third one is the worst one, bruh.
that.
God.
No,
Dude.
the second one's worse.
Oh my
than-
God.
Reloaded's decent.
yes,
Reloaded is-
like the Lost World.
The
It's got
worst
a bunch
thing
of
about
cool stuff.
Reloaded was the weird twins with dreadlocks or whatever. That
That's the
shit
coolest part.
Yeah, that's the part.
The ghost twins.
The ghost
part
twins are
of the
dope as fuck.
movie.
Get out of the
No, I
podcast.
think the worst part with the Matrix was the dialogue, like the
the end of the second one where he meets Colonel
where he
Sanders.
meets
and
when he meets
turns
the
around.
fucking Colonel
I am the
Sanders is the
architect.
fucking architect, like and like that whole conversation with him and the architect
went on for like 5 minutes too
and
long.
it completely would go over anybody who's not an intellectual's head. Like when I first initially saw the
Well, do you
architect
really
film-
think Jimbo down at the country store is watching The Matrix? For
well,
its
yeah,
fucking,
box office hit.
for his fucking for its philosophical
No,
messages.
they watch it for the slow mo bullet time and stuff.
Yeah, but when you start that 5 minute like conversation,
You go
people
like,
are
what the fuck is
is this? What the fuck? Because
I
like
guess
even the vocabulary is so fucking pretentious.
You are the
man.
statistical
Like,
outcome of an anomaly that.
exactly. You are like he
It-
could've
essentially,
explained
all
it-
he's doing is in so many words, he's explaining your
explaining
your
his insignificance.
your
through
your
his vocabulary.
you're our way to shoehorn a white savior complex into this movie. Congratulations. That's all the architect said.
I feel like because
Like no, I get it now
Like
that
you're Jesus. That's all.
now that I
That's
look
all the
back on it, I
architect
was like,
said.
okay, I understand.
I feel like because the Matrix movies, like the second and third one, were not very well received. Like arguing whether or not Will Smith would have succeeded is like arguing whether or not he would have failed because those movies kind of failed. It's weird. It's a weird thing to say.
Didn't
Like
fail at the box office.
no, they did. They did. They made bank at the
They
box
made
office,
bank.
and they're all fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. The first one's like 90 something, and the second and third one
If
are
you
like,
put Will Smith in there, it would have been like putting like Christopher Walken in the 40-year-old version.
That would be awesome.
That
but
would
you're
be
taking
fucking
Christopher.
hilarious.
You're taking Christopher Walken.
So the
like,
80-year-old virgin.
now you're taking now Christopher Walken when he's
sequel,
become a
right?
caricature of himself.
Dude, Christopher Walken in 40-year-old virgin. would be
That's the
fucking
sequel we
hilarious.
need, man.
Like,
Really?
Imagine a 40-year-old Christopher Walken doing it instead of like you're looking at now.
I
Christopher
collect
Walken.
lots of
Is this
action
your
figures.
Is that your
I am
Walken
now
impression?
making your coat blue.
That's the Christopher Walken impression.
Kelly Clarkson.
God damn it.
Zach, your career as an impressionist
No, it's bad.
has gone from 0 to negative -1.
I'm gonna be saying that shit for a week.
You're not certified fresh.
Be like, Kelly Clarkson. I'm done. I'm gonna stop.
He enjoyed himself.
He's enjoying himself. It's all right. You got to give it to him. He does. There's episodes when he comes on here and he acts like he'd rather be anywhere else but here. So this is one of the good ones.
Yeah, when we're watching dumb movies,
Deadpool 2.
Jurassic World.
That Jurassic World episode was great.
It was a dumb movie though.
So the episode is good. I'm talking about the episodes of the content.
Fuck that movie.
We're not even talking about the movie we're talking about.
I know.
Okay.
We've gone on some kind of crazy
We
tangent,
gone
much
on.
like
No,
Sorry to
it was
Bother
only-
You.
It was only because I was talking about how so and so was the black Keanu Reeves. That's the only reason we got into that.
You know,
No, it was would Keanu Reeves kick our asses?
you know who would have done The Matrix really good if you couldn't cast Keanu Reeves?
Ooh,
Ethan Hawke.
Bill Pullman.
Ethan.
Okay.
Fuck Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke at the time, he was a desk jock, like a desk worker. He looked like he would go crazy
Ethan
and
Hawke.
kill somebody.
I could now I can see.
I could see
because
Ethan
I'm
Hawke
thinking-
playing a meth head.
Funny.
Because because after
Like that's
watching
all I
him-
could see Ethan Hawke being in a
Ethan
Kid
Hawke
Rock
because I'm
biopic.
thinking like when I see Ethan Hawke, I'm thinking Training Day. Ethan
Yeah.
Hawke. Like I'm thinking.
Which came out like only 2 years later.
Yeah, I'm
So like
thinking.
imagine just rewind it 2 years and put him in there. It
he
would've
could have
worked.
definitely did it. Now I see what you're talking about.
They
like,
missed that joke completely, Jared.
But like
I could see Ethan Hawke being in a Kid Rock biopic.
Oh, they did.
a Kid Rock biopic. Who wanted?
They just get Kid Rock
biopic?
to do that.
Like
I
I could
think-
see Ethan Hawke
I
being in
think,
a movie
David
about
Spade
meth
should be
heads.
in that movie.
David Spade.
As
should be
Kid
in-
Rock.
Yeah.
Kind of a Joe Dirt Kid
Joe
Rock.
Dirt. Kid Rock.
Kid Rock wants to run for U.S. Senate.
I know. I have jokes about that.
Are they jokes and loving support of that idea because you agree with it?
No. They are in a weird backwards sense.
No, it's a joke that only Jared can tell in his way and voice.
He's gonna ball with the popular vote.
It's not.
Was that a reference to Ball to Ball?
Yeah, it's bad.
Get the fuck out of my studio.
Oh my god, y'all crazy.
Do you just laugh at your own puns watching people's despair wash over their face?
That's the
If they
That's
hear
my
you-
most favorite part.
That's the best. That's
As
the
watching
best
them just be
thing.
like,
I just had to
damn
make
it,
sure.
That's the best part, man.
Dude, like laying down a really shitty pun is like
Watching you,
Dude, okay,
watching
so-
everyone else go.
laying down a really, really bad pun is kind of like laying down a really, really rank fart.
I'm tired of doing puns.
Oh man, no,
You gotta get away from
the
them.
puns. Yeah, the puns.
Yeah,
are
much like you
dangerous.
got to get away from a fart because they can smell really bad. But when
you can get too deep into the rabbit hole of puns,
Yeah, you gotta get away from them sometimes.
because it's basically just low hanging fruit. Like it's just right there, right, fucking there, in the palm of your hand.
Well, much like the low-hanging fruit that Vinci just described, we hope your ears have been hanging low to the movie date.
That
with,
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know. I'm just these bad segues.
He tried. Give him at least.
Hey, I am doing my best.
he is doing his best.
That's just been about wraps it up here for us here at the movie date with Rob and Zach. Stay tuned for in the next coming weeks. We will be talking a lot more about Keanu Reeves.
Yes, hopefully.
When-
Unless we bail on it, unless another star-studded cast of the Black Experience movie comes out. The Black Klansman is coming out. We'll have to watch that
Oh
one.
yeah, I
Black
want to see
Klansman.
that.
I wanna
Fuck,
see it.
I wanna
Spike
see that
Lee.
shit.
And by Jordan Peele. This is
Yeah.
producing it, and I think
Oh,
he helped
yeah.
write it.
I definitely got to see that.
Yeah.
That movie looks dope.
We're doing John Wick first.
All right. So our next few episodes will be very
Is that movie
Keanu
about
centric.
candles?
Next, maybe like the next two, and then we'll put a spacer in there, and then we'll come back to it.
Yeah,
If
but
it-
we never do what we talk about at the end of these things anyway. So
If you guys haven't caught on by now, we make this shit up as we go.
But it's fun.
That's the way.
That's the way a
All right,
podcast is supposed to be.
and always, as always, when we have guests, do you guys have anything to plug?
My house.
Preferably like,
July 27th. I
Your
will be-
butt.
oh my god.
Now you know how I feel when you make a shitty joke.
July 27th will be at Hibernia for the roast of Paul Hodge, one of my comedy buddies.
Oh, that's nice.
We are going to roast the shit out this guy.
What about
This is gonna be-
the joint
It's not
stock
gonna be
thing that
nice
you're
at the
doing?
show.
Oh yeah, and
'Cause that's a little bit further out because we
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
when this is going to drop.
in September, when Joint Stock, I'll be performing at Joint Stock at the Joint on Main Street. It's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of. It's
North Little Rock.
Yeah, it's North Little Rock. A lot of musical acts. A lot of comedic acts are gonna be doing. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. David Bear is gonna
Yep,
be there.
he's been on the podcast.
original podcast.
He'll be there.
You said his name is David Bear?
That's his name.
That's his name.
You just told me Bear the comic, and I wrote
That's
that
what he
down.
likes to be
Goes
called.
by Bear.
All right. Jared, do you have anything you want to plug?
I guess I can plug my house show. I'm having a show at my house. where it's
That way you don't have to get out of bed too early. Is that what that is?
it's at night.
That's what I mean.
What's
you
the
don't have to
date?
get out of bed too early.
Okay.
Tell the kind folks at home what the date is.
Well, it's August 1st. I'm going to be opening for this guy named Krish Mohan and his significant other, Liz Victory. She plays music and he does comedy, and they're kind of on tour. We're also going to have the band Monster Boy there, and maybe some special appearances.
And he was on NPR's Tiny Desk, wasn't he?
He's trying to get on there.
Oh,
He-
trying to get
he
on there.
applied.
Okay.
Zach, do you have
Yeah.
anything?
Chris Long,
Sorry.
Monster Boy. He's really good. So
Cool. Fans of Jared, go do all the things that he plugged.
How do we find you, Jared?
how do we find me?
Social media wise.
Well, you have to crawl into the dark cave that I live in, and you have to tap on the walls, and I'll get up off my big stalactite thing that's kind of a bed that's kind of sets up my bed. It's got stalagmites or whichever one's coming from the ground, and I kind of sleep on there. I kind of I'm a troglodyte, that's what I'm saying.
How do we find you on the social media? Is what I'm asking.
Exactly. That was a complete.
You got like a Twitter. You got like a Twitter something.
Also,
Instagram.
you're talking to the side of the mic as well, so we're not hearing you
I'm
at all.
just trying to look at Zach.
The hell was
He's not-
Zach?
I have a pretty face.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
don't,
I'm on
I don't really
radio.
like looking at him that much either. But Facebook.com/Jared Lowry Comedy. I have Twitter. It's at XLJared. Instagram's at XLJared. I have a YouTube channel. It's just called Jared Lowry.
I've seen some of those YouTube videos. Those are
I
hilarious.
have a ton of YouTube videos that nobody watches.
Go help out.
like us.
Just pump up some of Jared's views. Go.
Yeah, just search for Jared Lowry on there, and I'm usually the first guy that comes up. I have a lot of comedy videos and stuff.
Nice.
Right.
Zach, do you have anything you want to plug? Any cool things coming up in your life?
Yeah, we got the Comedy Bowl going on.
Aren't you emceeing that?
I am the comptroller. I'll be the guy up in the rafters saying, come on down, and all that crazy junk.
Nice.
It's a game show kind of thing. The next one, it's in August. It's going to be at the Joint. I want to say it's August 16th, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Maybe
Go check
August
the Facebooks.
16th.
It's a Comedy Bowl, the Joint Argenta. Just look it up.
Yeah,
Anyway.
go see Zach on maybe August 16th. Keep that whole 4-day period open, and just
Rob, you got anything to plug?
yes, actually, I never have anything to plug. My
For once, it's not comedy stuff that we're plugging. Rob,
yeah,
Rob
it
doesn't
feels
do
nice,
the
doesn't
comedy.
it? Like we're actually doing something with our lives, not awaiting our own abysmal end. I am finishing up a cover that is featuring Blake Allison from Devour the Day on Fearless Records. Josh Stewart from Day One is also on it, and my dear friend Jericho Hall. It's a cover of Walk on Water by 30 Seconds to Mars. It's going to be hopefully do big things for my studio. I'm very excited. We're working on the master right now, as well as a video, and a YouTube channel is going up for that and for the podcast as well. So,
Whoop, whoop. So stay tuned.
yeah.
You can listen to us on the Oot Boobs.
Yeah, and the channel on if you want to subscribe to like and follow on Facebook, it's Horizon Studios on Facebook. That would really mean a lot to
It's
me.
the studio that produces this podcast that you're listening to right here.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't even mention this on the
The
studio.
home of
studio page.
in Horizons. We need to start saying that. Coming to you live from Horizon Studios.
Yeah,
All right.
I really should do that.
All right. This has been a podcast for people who like movies but don't want to be too smug about it.
Unless it's this movie and Zach.
I'm Rob.
I'm Zach.
Thank you and good night.
Goodbye.